The following is a presentation of iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the World Center of Racing. It's Daytona International Speedway in championship race for the Superspeedway Cup Series right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. My name is Andy Kessler, and joining me topside tonight in the booth, we got Chris Murdoch and Austin Coop, as well as the lovely and talented Cisco Scarmuzza down in that production trailer, getting the job done and getting that picture to you. And welcome everyone to this fantastic race. 4 weeks ago, we started the chase for this championship for season number 13. 11 drivers came in with the opportunity and with the mindset of getting a championship. Well, it comes down to tonight. 100 laps, 250 miles here at Daytona, and pretty much you can say two drivers have an opportunity to come out of here as your championship. It would take a small miracle to see guys like Andrew Berger or Garrett Atwell come out of here with tonight's championship. Those two drivers, 26 points and 30 points out of the championship, respectively. It is possible. They're going to need a lot of help out of this one. Seth the Merchant, last season's champion. He's got 2 out of the last 3 season championships. He's looking for number 3 here tonight. A 5-point lead he has over the number 7 of Rodney Wofford. Wofford came into last week's race, picked off the win, got himself back into the championship hunt, and that, too, was his league-leading, career-high 18th win in the Superspeedway Club. So a fantastic job nonetheless. But the one thing that has slipped out of his grasp for at least 13 seasons now has been that overall season championship. Rodney Wofford looking to get his first one here tonight. Qualifying underway for these drivers, and I'll tell you what, guys, we'll start with you, Chris. Looking forward to it. I mean, obviously, Superspeedway racing, we all know what kind of a wild card event or races that these can be. You throw that into the mix that they do it each and every week. Then you throw in the fact you have 4 chase races. You got to be almost perfect 4 races in a row, especially in this format with this championship, to come out of here as your champion.
Yeah, you got to make as little mistakes as you possibly can. Don't speed on pit road. Don't beat yourself up on pit road like we see so many people do here. Rodney Wofford, he's got the best shot to win this race if he can just minimize the mistakes and stay out front and maybe tick down that lead that Seth the Merchant has. Maybe he can finally get that championship like you mentioned. So I imagine that fireworks are going to shoot off tonight and nobody's going to hold back in this race.
No, absolutely not. Of course, 100 laps, 250 miles, long race. These drivers do get that one ultimate reset, which is always nice to have in your back pocket, especially towards the end of the race. So staying out of trouble early is really a goal or a major factor that'll come into here tonight, Austin. Just the fact that if you have to use that thing early, it's going to make for a long night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you're talking about these races and you're talking about the super speedway and basically the restrictor plate racing, that's the first thing that comes to mind is how conservative do you actually make your race? How conservative do you make your charge to the front, or do you go to the front expecting just to stay there? And if you don't, then you're in trouble. And that fast repair, that really helps you. And a lot of these guys sometimes lean on that a little bit, knowing that if they push their car a little too hard and they do get in an accident, they can use that fast repair, get themselves some help out later, then maybe stay back or even wait to use it. I mean, some of these guys can get some really good damage on the car and still stay out on the track and get some good laps to stay in the back. So it really plays 2 different kind of strategies, like 3 or 4 different strategies that you could do with that fast repair. They only got one, but many different strategies on how you use it. I mean, we will see wrecks tonight because it is the finale and everyone wants to get what they got, especially those 2 up front.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Of course, Andrew Berger coming off of his championship 2 seasons ago, is third in points. We mentioned 26 back. A slight miracle is what he's going to need to come out of here on top. It's been a fantastic season nonetheless here. 13 races. It all ends here tonight. Rodney Wofford, of course, last week. Quick results update. He won the race last week. Derek Walker, fantastic finish. He was looking for his first ever win in this series and came oh so close 1 week ago in second place. Seth the Merchant, of course, kept that point gap as tight as possible, finishing third. Christian Peterson, his teammate, finished fourth, and Greg Hooks, winner 2 weeks ago, ended up finishing in the 5th spot. So we get set to get this final race, 250 miles, underway in just a moment, and might as well head down trackside now and take a look at tonight's LSRTV starting lineup. And with that said, look who's on the pole here tonight. The 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. will start on the top spot with a fast time of a 50.030. Outside of row number 1, that's one of the guys we're going to be keeping an eye on all night long. Rodney Wofford with a time of a 50.035. He will start on that outside of the front row. Josh Hanner rolls off from that 3rd position. Ray Rittenauer in the 87 car will start 4th, and starting 5th tonight, that's going to be the 24 of Andrew Berger.
Yeah, and starting on his outside in that number 1 car, Chris Bassini comes in 6th. Glenn Hendrick will be 7th. 8th, Dana Osborne. Raymond Evans coming in 9th in that 83 machine, and Alex Halliner rounds out your top 10.
Paul Servant will put that number 3 in 11th place with Rod Flagg right next to him in 12th. Frank Basilia will start out 13th. Garrett Atwell 14th, and Derek Walker will finish out your top 15.
The 77 car, Travis Stewart, will start 16th tonight. Row number 9 on the inside is going to be the 78 of Josh Ball. Gary Champion in the 13 will start 18th. 19th will be the 29 of Tommy Hall, while Dan Harrington rounds out 20th.
Scott Warren coming home in 21st position. 22nd, Kelly Dahl in that 99 machine. Shane McEachin in the 28 comes 23rd. Jared Haggerty 24th. Larry Camp will be 25th. 26th, Dennis Cook, Roger Stewart in 27th, and that's your last driver to take time. As you see Seth the Merchant starting right behind him, taking that provisional in here. You'll see the rest of your field scroll by here, and Andy, they're getting underway, and Seth the Merchant not qualifying. Do you think that'll have anything to play in factor? You got Wofford, starting in 2nd. He's up as as close as he wants to be to that front. You think anything is going to affect here at the start?
Well, Christian Peterson, Seth the Merchant teammates, they've been doing this all chase long, starting in the back of the pack, kind of riding around, getting a feel for the car, getting themselves basically to the point where they can save that reset for the end. They can get up to the front towards the end when it matters the most. Of course, one factor we haven't talked about at all just as of yet, all season long when we've seen these Xfinity cars on track, which is what we have here tonight, there's been a lot more cautions, I would say, than normal. A product of that is just how these cars race. Austin, I know you could talk the way the draft package is for these B cars. It allows for these guys more racing, more ability, I would say, to utilize the 3rd lane. That outside lane can really get going, and in doing so, you end up getting some predicaments where you end up causing yourself more grief than you do good.
And it typically has less to do with the top line than it does with the bottom line. If you're that second driver, so if you look at Josh Hanner right now, he's right behind the 88, and if he's got a guy tucked up behind him, then he's tucked up behind Jorgensen. And then let's say the 7 car is not quite up to the 88, but he's right next to him, he's got nowhere to go. And sometimes as that driver, especially in the closing laps or really at any point, that's kind of a claustrophobic area for you to be in, and there's nothing that you can do. And what the second line typically does is they like to really pinch down on those drivers, and that's really what starts to create that issue, especially when we do go 3 wide. I think that typically it's the middle line that is the culprit, and we'll have to see how this one plays out. You said that cautions have been slightly plaguing these races, but I think for this last race, I think they'll hold out at least till the last portion of the race to do any drastic moves, knowing what's staking.
Well, that's what we hope, and we welcome everyone here to Daytona for LSRTV's coverage on iRacing Live. The green flag is out, and we're underway. Mark Jorgensen Jr. leading the field to the green flag. Everybody bunched up nicely on this restart right here. And one thing we're going to have to watch, like you guys mentioned, is how patient can these guys be early. And, well, guess what? It's already out. How about the 04, Garrett Atwell, all the way back there outside the top 10, already pushing it 3 wide off turn 2.
Yeah, you see 3 wide. Like I said, drivers are not going to be holding back. This is their last race. Even these people who are like Garrett Atwell, who's 30 points back, not necessarily, working for the chase win unless he gets a miracle. He's not wanting to roll over. He's still wanting to finish out the season strong with that win. But if we take a look up here at your leaders, Wolford got off to a great start. He had that 87 of Ray Rittenauer on his back bumper, and he still got him as they're trying to, battle back on the outside. They're still side by side. Nobody's wanting to give an inch here in these first few laps.
Great job on that top side for them to gain back some of that track position they lost there, but Rodney Wofford stalls out through the corner here, and he'll try to get the run now. Look at Rittenauer on that back bumper now, pushes that 7 car to the lead. They might even clear 2 cars before they head to turn number 3, and it looks like they will do just that. The 88 awfully close right there. Mark Jorgensen Jr. maybe being a little friendly right there, burping the throttle, letting that 87 in there. That was awfully close right there, but the top 2 on the outside line able to take advantage of that. Wofford will get that all-important bonus point here for leading that lap right there. Puts him 1 point closer now. Guaranteed, I should say, 1 point closer in that championship fight here tonight. Jorgensen, though, back to that outside lane. Saw it open, figured I might as well take it. He'll go up there now with Chris Passini, giving him the push now off turn 2.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. They were in the exact opposite position just a little bit ago, and the one, I don't think he's going to be clear, but yeah, when you talked about Jorgensen giving a little bit of maybe a burp on the gas, he did, but he did still give the 87 a good shot and letting him know, hey, I'm not going to let you do that next time if it comes around. So the 87 definitely, basically him and the 7 were telling each other what was going on, and 7 said, hey, let's go down to the bottom, and 80 said, we're clear, let's go, and almost not clear, I'd say, but they're still going. The 88 did lead that lap this time around. It's gonna be one of those kind of races here, guys, where it's gonna be who gets the momentum on the top side. I think that's the only way you're really able to pass, and you're gonna have to have some help. You're gonna need somebody behind you who's a good pusher. That 1 car looks like a really good pusher right now at this point in the race, and that 2 car or the 8 car of Dana Osborne right behind him, and that's a good pusher as well.
Yeah, that's top lane really stacked up. Nice. How about some 3 wide action going outside the top 5 now? Atwell moved to the high side, brings along Josh Ball with him. Frank Busilia in the 94 as well. 3 cars make it 4 now with the 76 machine moving up there. That's Scott Ward. He's going to help. 1 car having problems. That's Josh Hanner on the bottom in that 2 car. He stays on the apron. Everybody able to scatter. He'll get back up on the racetrack, but a lot of spots lost right there for the 2 car. But the 3 wide action continues now up front. How about this? Look at the outside lane now. Atwell trying to get the lead by himself on the outside off turn 2.
Yeah, Garrett Atwell has definitely made some room. He's definitely making that high side work. I mean, he started 14th. He's already up to 6th place, and he doesn't seem to be stopping there as they get a little bit close to 28 and the 70. Caution, big caution out.
Big one out back
3.
Here. Looks like the 2 was involved as well in that one, but a trouble in turn number 3, and it was a big one right there for a bunch of these drivers. Just ahead of them, some 3 wide action started happening, and that's where it all went out. It looks like the number 26 car was involved in that one as the replay goes up on your screen right there, and there's a lot of drivers out there right now that are going to have to utilize, I should say, that first fast repair here tonight. So our first caution comes out on the speedway here on lap number 5. So a quick one here, quick 5 laps. We're already under our first caution of the night, and a fortunate one right there. We'll have to keep an eye on Seth the Merchant and those other guys that were towards the back and see if they have any damage. It looks like the 32 no issues on that car, at least for that first accident. So a good call by those guys to stay out back there, but big problems, big junk for a lot of drivers here in turn number 3.
Tell you what, that 22 gets the at least at this point in the race. That's the biggest airborne I've seen a car in a long while. He got hit real hard, and he's actually had to tow that car to pit road. So it'll be he'll at least lose a lap or two, getting that car towed, then getting the repair, getting that car right off the trailer here shortly. Yeah, big hang time. I haven't seen a car do that in a while. But if you're able to get your car back to pit road, even limping it around with a blown engine, getting a little bit of gas in that car is really helpful, as it looks like he may not get his lap back. It looks like he will lose it if he can beat the pace car off, and he's not going to make it. He's going to have to stop. And many drivers will realize at the end of this that if you have to tow, you really don't want to, because you're going to lose a couple laps.
They absolutely are. A couple drivers outside the top 4 did come down pit road that time when it was open. It was all led by that number 8 of Dana Osborne. He came down, led the way. A few of the drivers to top off the tank towards the back. But the front runners, Rodney Wofford still currently shown as your race leader. He stays out under this yellow, and he will resume the race lead when we get back underway. We're going to take this moment, step aside. You're watching the Superspeedway Cup Series right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. He's typing. He's typing. He's got it. He's got it. It's a new line of code. Okay. Sorry. Welcome you back here to Daytona International Speedway, the Superspeedway Cup Series season finale championship night here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. And myself, Andy Kessler, joining me up here tonight, Chris Murdoch, Austin Coop, of course, the lovely and talented Cisco Scaramuza getting that picture to you. We got set for our first restart of the night here. We had our first caution come out with problems, a 22 car involved, and probably about 8 to 10 other drivers involved in that first accident there in turn number 3 on lap number 5. We get set here on the restart to complete lap number 8. And we got a whole long way to go here tonight. We talk about a couple drivers hanging to the back. 32 is Seth DeMerchant, his teammate Christian Peterson. Peterson involved in that. DeMerchant, well, he's now inside the top 10 here as we get the green flag and we get back underway here at Daytona.
Yeah, and one thing I'm looking forward to this time is, looking at all these drivers who, with the first 5 laps, they were, pushing on the back bumpers really hard, and, be trying to push a little bit too hard, because these cars don't last forever. They tend to overheat really fast. You can push solidly for maybe 2 to 3 laps, and then you have to cool it off. So I want to see which lane gives it in first. It would be the bottom lane or the top lane. Right now it seems to be the bottom lane, struggling to get to the back bumper of that 88, which is leaving Piscini and that 87 of Ray Rittenauer to try to make a move on the high side, but they kind of stall out in the corner and allow the 7 to get back on the inside.
It allows it, but it's a drag race now off of turn number 4 to the start-finish line. Wofford will lead this lap once again just by a bit. They're about half of a nose on the number 1 of Chris Passini. Passini, one of those championship leaders going into the chase in the first couple of weeks up until that accident that took him out of the race a couple of weeks ago. It's been nothing but trouble for that number 1 car. He's looking to rebound here in the season finale. He's doing it right now, leading that outside lane. As he tries to get some more momentum, he'll catch back up to the 7. He'll stall out once again as they enter the corner. It's all about timing, and we know that, Austin. Timing, getting off of the corners. There's the 04 there, a little bobble from Atwell. In turn number 3, maybe touched the apron just a bit. But it's all about timing, getting to that back bumper right on corner exit. That's what's going to give that top side, or what I should say, that third lane in the middle lane. That's what gives those guys the advantage as we see the 3 wide action picking up again. Set to Merchant now looking 3 wide, going for that third spot. He's up there in turn number 1.
Yeah, speaking of timing, look at him. He's coming right up to the front, started at the very back, and was still, I mean, he was hard on the brakes. He was behind the wreck, made sure he didn't get involved, and look how very quickly he is up there looking to the spot. He's now reclaimed the lead for the points at this point in the race. If the race were to end right now, well, he'd actually be the leader, but it's getting really close, and that 7 car almost got into the 87 right there. That was really close racing, but look how good that 32 got to the front. I mean, he just used every bit of push he could, and the 88's off pace for just a little bit. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but the 32 was almost clear that time by he just basically had a huge push from that 984, and they're going to be 3 wide for the lead right now.
Yeah, 3 wide action up front continues to heat up. Frank Basilia now leads that third and outermost lane with the 32 is set to Merchant right there in the middle. Chris Passini trying to hold serve on the bottom side. He's got Wofford to his back bumper and Josh Ball. The middle lane, though, prevails down the back straightaway. Set to Merchant looking to maybe get clear, drop down in front. He won't this time. He'll stay right there in the middle. The 3 wide action continues 3 rows deep now as they work their way through 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 by 3 by 3. You see a bunch of drivers backing out. But that just means other drivers are going to reclaim that spot. 3 wide hasn't quit for the past 3 laps. Now, as you see, Wofford almost get up into that 32 the Merchant. So it's crazy racing to start. We're only on lap 13, and these drivers are 3 by 3. There's only they've seemed to settle out a little bit. Only 1 row's 3 wide now. Now they're backing out. They're 2 wide now. So all the drivers really thought better of it and was like, it's too early for this. We shouldn't be racing this hard this early.
Yeah, trying to keep it cool there. We had a little moment there. The 7 getting a little bit loose right there underneath the 32 is set to Merchant. Those 2 drivers are the guys we're keeping an eye on here tonight. 32 and 7. Those are the 2 battling for the championship as the drag race to the line heats up. Chris Passini will get this lap led once again here, set to Merchant, trying to get that bonus point, that all-important bonus point that, of course, we know the 7 had gotten early on lap number 2. So this front pack here, just about 10 cars, make it 12 strong here in this front pack. There's a couple stragglers just behind them that are trying to catch up to this field. There's a 3 wide action. Heats up again here, outside lane now. Here comes Frank Basilia with Shane McKeechan and Hallinar now pushing.
Every time we see a lead change happen, we're going to see this third lane go because the bottom lane loses a lot of oomph, and then once that driver moves to that extra line, I don't know what Chris Passini was doing, but he did lose a little bit of momentum. I mean, he is going to get some push from the Merchant, who is obviously a really good pusher. He's going to lead the lap, but he did let that 7 car have a little bit of advantage, and it does make that third line appear, and that does retract and go back down. But that third line will really come into play later on with the dynamic track. Not as an effect as we saw the other night at Irwindale in the late model series, but at a track like this, it still has a big effect, especially if you're on the bottom line and you have a little bit of lack of control on the bottom, as we are seeing. It seems like the only issue we're having with cars being a little bit out of control is on that bottom line, and that's because that's where the heat is, and most of the cars are down there.
Yeah, a lot of that. Plus, you have to remember about that yellow line, too. I mean, just a slight bobble of that with that left front tire can put that car out of shape more than you really want, and definitely takes a an opportunity or a breath. It takes your breath away trying to make sure you can save that thing. The guys behind you don't run you over. A lot of things can go onto that. A bobble by the 24 of Andrew Berger is going to split things up just a little bit. How about the 3 wide action up top? Looked like it was going to be more than 2 cars. It settles down now. Shane McEachin drops down to the middle lane. He'll stay right there for the moment. The 3 wide, though, I'll tell you what, it's been fun to watch. It's one of them things, too, where you got to hold your breath, especially those guys towards the back of this pack right here, because if something happens in front of them, that track is blocked right now. Chris Passini, though, he'll swap leads once again, that time at the stripe. He'll take that spot over Rodney Wofford as they continue to fight back into 1.
Yeah, every time I see this 3 wide, as now it's 3 wide, 2 rows deep once again, as you see the 94 come down and try to pinch that 87. You know, you got to really hold your breath, like you said, Andy, because, you know, just a small millisecond of a mistake can end all of these drivers' run, you know, depending on where you are on the track. You know, it's just, it can be so chaotic in a matter of seconds. So you got to really plan your moves carefully. And on lap 17, like I said earlier, I think it's just a little bit too risky for these drivers right now.
Yeah, not only that, just think of all the championship implications that could happen with this when you got those 2 drivers up front right now, sitting first and third right now, or make it fourth on the racetrack, that those 2 guys are the ones that really have the opportunity here tonight to come out as your champion. Of course, Seth the Merchant, already a 2-time champion, winner of last season, winner of 2 seasons ago as well, and he's looking for his 3rd championship. Well, Rodney Wofford, been around since the start of the Superspeedway series some 13 seasons ago, picked up his 18th career win last week, most all-time out of any driver that's ever been in the series, and he still has yet to win the championship, looking to put an end to that here tonight. The battle for the lead continues as Wofford now will get this lap lead once again. 3rd lane, though, they haven't had enough just as yet. Shane McEachin going to take a crack at it now with the 15 of Gray Hooks now to his back bumper. Those 2 drivers making their way up all the way to that 2nd row in turn 1.
You know, if I was one of these drivers, I'd be really excited, and I actually really would be pushing towards the front, especially if you're the Merchant. You know, if this race continues to go green, Rodney Wofford isn't going anywhere, it looks like, and Chris Passini and him basically have the front 2 locked down, and it is going to be a 3-horse race at the front with the 28 getting involved. But, you know, if he even loses a little bit of ground, let's just say he hits the 1 and gets such a huge hit that it just moves him back a little bit, you know, later on in the race, like, he could be kicking himself for not being up at the front at the end. I know we still got a long ways to go, but every lap does kind of count, especially when you have that fast repair to lean on. You do have it a little bit to lean on, and you can't just say, you know, we need to race like we don't have it, because these guys do have it. You know, as a driver, you know, you can make some risky moves and do those kind of moves and not have those bad consequences if you only had 0. Now, some of these drivers in the middle or the back, as you're seeing some slight connection issue, they don't have that, and that's why they're not up there. Everyone in this front pack either does or does not care. So that is something to think about, is if he loses like 1 or 2 more spots, he's actually losing the championship.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and this 3 wide action is just absolutely fun to watch right now. The bottom lane kind of gets separated just a bit, gives the outside lane now the advantage here. Seth the Merchant moves up to the high side from Chris Passini. Oh, contact in the back. Alex Warren and the 6 of Haggerty, they go around in turn number 1, and Alex Hallinar involved in that as well. 3 cars right there, caution out for the 2nd time on lap number 21.
Yeah, that's huge. As you saw, like 2 or 3 other drivers from the back, you know, get involved. As you see the replay come up on your screen now, it looks like Haggerty just got with and just sent him around. He's got major engine damage. Luckily for him, I think he still does have that fast repair, so he's gonna get all this damage fixed and be back out there on the track.
Yeah, so it looks like maybe a little bit of loose condition there for the middle lane. When you got those cars right around you like that, it doesn't take much to get that car sideways. Jared Haggerty a little out of shape, gets into that number 76 of Alex Warren. They move up the racetrack, collect the 64 of Alex Hallinar. So at least no immediate danger to the chase drivers in that one there as they continue to stay up towards the front. And actually, in fact, look at Seth the Merchant gets his bonus point for leading the lap. He's shown as your race leader right now. Getting close to that quarter distance mark of this race as well, too. as we look to see these guys now as they catch up to the pace car. Pit road will be open. We didn't see the leaders come down that last time or on that first caution there on lap number 5. I expect to see all these drivers down this time. Probably 2-tire stop. If you're going to take 4, though, this is your chance under caution.
Yeah, I think for a lot of these drivers, it's going to be either they're going to take them or they're going to take 2. I think for some of these drivers, one, you got to think about fuel. These guys won't make it all the way with fuel, so at some point these guys got to come down pit road. But also, tires does help. You know, a lot of guys say, "Oh, well, if we have older tires, that means they're going to be hotter. That means they're going to go faster." But at a certain point, you will need fresh rubber on those rims, and I think now is a good time. You know, you're 22 laps in, had some good, decent green flag runs, so why not put 4 fresh ones on there? Although, at the contrary, if you take 2, you're going to have some good track position. So we'll just have to see how this one plays out as they are ducking down. You see Seth Merchant come down. The 28 also comes down. That's Shane McEachin. And Chris Piscini goes all the way down to the end of pit road to get to his stall.
Looks like a 2-tire stop only for the 32 of Seth Merchant, the 15 of Greg Hooks as well. Shane McEachin will stay on for 4 tires. So mixed bag of strategies for a lot of these drivers. Looks like Rodney Wofford, Chris Piscini will also take 2 tires on this one here. So a little bit of a change up towards the front of the field as far as the running order, but we approach that quarter distance mark here in tonight's championship event. 250 miles, 100 laps, the scheduled distance here as we work lap number 23. We'll take this moment, we'll step aside. It's a Superspeedway Cup Series right here on iRacing Live.
You know, the straights are unbelievably long. The first time you come here, everyone tells you, you know, you'll be flat out 6th gear for 20 seconds. First time I was here, I lifted halfway down the straight. I didn't believe that it was still going. I was waiting to brake and I was back on the power. And the Porsche curves are extremely fast and extremely narrow, so it's a tricky track. And, you know, every year I've come here, you learn something new every time.
Le Mans is so fast. Wherever you accelerate, you are over 150 miles per hour. Going there, I realized everything you have done before was nothing.
Welcome you back here to Daytona International Speedway, the Superspeedway Cup Series here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Championship night, the Title Trot 250 is what it's being called here tonight, and welcome everybody tuning in to this one. It's been a fun one so far as we approach that quarter distance of this race. Pit stops had just happened here, and one of those great 3-wide action we saw for multiple laps there with about 4 or 5 rows deep at sometimes up towards the front of the field there. Pretty good battles going on for the race lead here since the start of this one here tonight. So, guys, it doesn't look like, at least for maybe for the title contenders, the 2 drivers are really keeping an eye on that 32 and 7. At least for those 2, for the moment there, where they're kind of taking it easy. But I'll tell you what, everybody else looking for a win here in the season finale.
Yeah, they're just trying to keep their cars clean. They know how much this race means, and they kind of just want to make it to the end and at least finish the race. You know, one driver I want to give a quick shout out to is that 15 of Greg Hooks. He's one of those drivers that has made that, you know, 3-wide racing work so well. He started 31st, and he's moved all his way, all the way up to 4th. So a good run by that 15 for sure so far.
Another couple drivers inside the top 10 working their way up through the field. Jason Altman's from 33rd to 6th. Christian Peterson, after that damage in that first accident, 29th to 9th here in this one. So already so far making some big progress for some of these drivers getting their way up through the field and hoping for more before this thing is over. So we look forward to getting back under the restart here. We'll have exactly 75 laps left to go here in this one when we get back to the green flag here in just a moment. But I'll tell you what, I'm just enjoying, just the fact of the championships and what all these mean to these guys. And, we talk about super speedway racing and how hard it just is to win these races, nonetheless win a championship when this is all you do is run these types of races week in and week out. It's a fun one to watch. You never know what can happen, and we got a long way till we can crown this season's champion. Pace car down to pit road, green flag back in the air, Set the Merchant leading the field now to this restart, our second restart of the night here. Rodney Wofford on his back bumper. Those two drivers looking for the championship here tonight. Chris Passini, Greg Hooks, Jason Allmans, Shane McEachin, and Glenn Hedrick on that top side, trying to at least form it up for the time being. It's too wide now all throughout the field.
Yeah, and it's funny that the 7 cars pushing the 32 because they're the ones fighting for the title. But at this point, he's got to do what he's got to push him. And I think the irony is a little bit funny here, but the 88 gives a huge shot to that 7 car. If the 7 car doesn't push the 32, I mean, they're both going to be in the same water. So he's got to push him. Hopefully, he can get him out to a big lead. He's got to search for something. He's kind of in a bind right now where he can't, like I said earlier before the race started, he's in that box. He can't go high. He can't push harder. He also can't lift too much because he's going to get ran into. It's kind of that third place box that you don't really like to be in, and he's in there right now. He's just got to do the best he can to judge the corners, judge pushing him, and he's given a huge push right there, maybe a little too much as the 88's not quite with him. But right here, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the outside, and he does. He's going to get a big push from the 1. He's getting a little hairy there, but hey, that's exactly what he did, and he's up to the point.
Yeah, bold move right there for Rodney Wofford, able to just barely clear that one. And Chris Passini moves up to the high side and now puts himself in a side-by-side battle for that race lead. Chris Passini, maybe not a little happy about that cutting across his nose like that, but he'll stick right to that back bumper, trying to get him to shove back towards the lead here as Mark Jorgensen Jr. closes the door on the bottom side. He gets right up to Set the Merchant, I should say, as Frank Basilia now tries to close that gap along with Christian Peterson, who we had mentioned was involved in that first accident of the night, found himself down a lap, ends up getting his lap back under this most recent caution, finds himself now inside the top 10, looking for a race win as well, if not only that, to at least help out his teammate as they go for the championship here tonight. So the top 16 drivers all formulated themselves in a nice little tight-knit group here. Set the Merchant, Rodney Wofford lead the way off turn 4.
Yeah, and what was it that we mentioned right before the green flag, Andy? We said that these drivers were, these top 2 drivers were kind of taking it easy. Well, Wofford kind of threw that right out the way. He cut off that 1 car of Chris Passini and almost lost it trying to jump up on that high side. So maybe, the impatience of sitting behind your championship leader when you're so close to winning your first championship yourself, it is getting to this number 7 car.
Yeah, it just could be that, but also the safest place to be for him probably is up towards the front. How about that run down the back straightaway now into turn number 3? Wofford will have that bottom side cleared for the time being, chooses to stay up high. He does finally move down to the bottom now, right in front of Set the Merchant. He'll take over that championship lead right now as the 1 of Chris Passini fights back on the high side with Greg Hooks. It's going to be a drag race to the line that time, and they'll give it to, Chris Passini will get it by 2/1000ths of a second that time. He gets the lap led as the 2x2 continues in turn 1.
And Wofford continues to make strides by getting the push into Merchant. Not the push he wants, but I mean, it will keep his lead, and that gives that's the most points that he can get. If he can get the most laps led, that will give him another leg up, another position basically to help out. They're 2 by 2, and looks like the 15 is not quite content being in second. He's looking to try that third line. He's got to wait for those tires, I think, to get a little more heat in them. They only ran about 6, maybe 5-6 laps here this round by, but top 8, top 10 are all bricked together, and you got some stragglers behind them just looking to stay in the game. As you're seeing the 04, he got a little loose and wiggly on the straightaway. Maybe had a little help there, but yeah, that's a little. Basically, it's a little brick with a tail on it, as I like to say, but this brick is already 2 tenths or 2 seconds ahead of the guys behind them. And we also mentioned a lot how in these races, if you're that second group, you will lose the leaders quite soon, and if there's not a caution to save you, you may be in some bad luck.
Hey, it just might be, but at the same time, I think we saw it just a couple of laps ago with this front pack being about 13 or 14 cars. We saw the other 4 drivers who now make up this 18-car pack up here. They were off the pace just a little bit, but they stuck up to each other nicely, stayed in a line. They were able to get back up into this lead group. So we do know that it can be done. You can catch these guys if you're disciplined enough to stay locked into each other and stay single file and try to get as much speed as possible. The bottom side's been pretty kind to the 7 of Rodney Wofford so far tonight. Chris Passini now will challenge for that race lead as the 15 of Greg Hooks gets him the push he needs out to the front. He'll drop down to the bottom now in front of Rodney Wofford. He gives that 15 of Greg Hooks now the opportunity to lead the top side. Jason Altman's in that 51 car. He's right there in his back bumper. We talked about Altman's being one of those guys from 33rd. Well, how about this time by up to 4th. Some contact though in the tri-oval. He makes contact with Seth the Merchant, one of our championship contenders, but I'll tell you what a piece of driving by Seth the Merchant. He keeps that thing going in the right direction.
Yeah, he has some good right front damage, but nothing he just can't crank out. But that's going to be a bit of a gamble whether he takes the fast repair or not. This is really the story right now. A lot of damaged cars, but I don't think any of us are really worried about the other ones because that's going to be a huge implication for that team and debating on whether they take the repair or not. I'm seeing just right side front damage, but definitely not what he wanted to see. And he did cut back up the track and almost got hit by a couple of the drivers. But thankfully for him, the caution did come out because of the mass calamity that happened afterwards.
Yeah, very fortunate for the 32 right there that he didn't basically lose the draft and have to basically ride around by himself. Fortunate enough for him, that just started what happened as they headed to turn number 1. A bunch of drivers involved in this one. Our third caution of the night here on lap number 33. The replay's up on your screen, and kind of a fun one there to watch as you see these guys go through that mess. Mark Jorgensen Jr. involved in that wreck as well, too, there in turn number 1. We talked about him after starting on the pole here tonight. Leads the series with 3 wins on the season. So Mark Jorgensen Jr., I can remember just a couple seasons ago, I don't think he finished, but maybe 1 or 2 races all season long. It was just that kind of luck, and it's just that kind of storylines that you can see at these restrictor play races, especially when you come here week after week. When that bad luck's on your side, it seems to last for an eternity.
Yeah, unfortunate for a lot of these drivers. It was a really big wreck, and you mentioned Seth the Merchant did a heck of a job saving that car, but he went from all the way up to second and now falling outside the top 10 while Wofford, assumes that second place position. So it's got to be a little good for, Wofford to see that he's got a little bit of a buffer now between him and Seth the Merchant. But I think, Wofford's also glad that he still gets to race for this championship and it's not handed to him because of a really bad wreck.
So pit road open, all the leaders heading back down pit road. Rodney Wofford down in that first stall. Looks like right side tires. He'll go with a 4-tire stop in that number 7 car. So some of the drivers that only took 2 that last time, they'll take 4 this time. They'll be down and away. So changing running orders. What happens at these restrictor plate races, especially when you got mixed strategy on pit road like this one. Lap number 35 on the board right now for these drivers. 65 to go that next time by. Still tons and tons of time for these guys to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, when we see DeMerchant have the issue that he's having, and he's still on pit road at this point, so he is going to get that damage beaten out of the car. Like you just said, he's got over half the race to make this up. And I know the team is not terribly worried. I mean, yes, they are going to be backed up, and the 7 car can get 4 tires this time, which he did. So that lets that team have the freedom to do what they like. So he's going to do what he has to do on pit road as well. But we saw that car go from the back to the front before. I can see that that's going to happen again. That team has been resilient ever since they got their playoff berth. Almost didn't make it this season. We talked about how he was seated last at the very beginning of the chase, and here he is at the very end, trying to make his statement as well. But of course, we can't also forget about Rodney Wofford getting a little bit of a break, knowing that car is going to be all the way in the back, trying to push his way to the front, because he's got to make it the way up to the front eventually. He can't bank on these big wrecks and big cautions. So I think that's going to be a big story to talk about as well. As a 7 car, I know he's not going to fall back on purpose, but at the same time, I don't think he has to stress out as much about being up front.
No, you're absolutely right. We saw that Seth DeMerchant from the beginning, started 28th here tonight, and it was one of them conscious efforts to just basically start in the back, kind of right around. He avoided that first wreck, found himself inside the top 10, decided to start racing, got himself that bonus point, which was much needed. We knew Wofford had gotten his already, so both those drivers, even as far as that is concerned, for now, I mean, there's still that opportunity to get that extra bonus point for leading the most laps, so we'll see if either one of those guys can take advantage of that one here tonight. Jason Altmans came out of the pit road first. He will lead the field back to the green flag as Frank Basilia sits second currently. Josh Hanner, after the mishap early down to the apron, he went all the way to the back. He's currently back in the third spot, right where he started tonight's race. Garrett Atwell sits fourth right now. Alex Hallinar rounds out your top 5. 6 right now, Scott Warren, Ramon Evans, Rodney Wofford, and Travis Stewart, and Chris Bassini in that 1 car will round out your top 10. So with the 4-tire stop, Rodney Wofford basically from one of those top 2 starting positions there all the way back to just inside the top 10 there, running 8th.
Yeah, and I also want to bring something to your attention, Andy. He got those 4 tires, and then he waited about 2 to 3 seconds in his box, maybe to let other guys go, and then he saw that 1 car who he's been working with so well today. He saw that 1 car and he pulled out, and he got him, starting right behind each other. So he kind of played the strategy of pit road to his favor and just waited on his teammate, so they can move up through the field together.
Absolutely. You know what I'd like to see as lights go off on the pace car here, the field gets doubled up and gets back going here. Frank Basilia, one of those guys who came into the championship here. He is a former champion in this series, but he had an opportunity here this season as well. Currently 7th in the points, 53 back, obviously without a shot to get the championship here tonight. I mean, it literally, mathematically, maybe he has a shot with the way the point system works for this series. But, realistic shot, absolutely not. Frank Basilia is out there looking for the race win here tonight. So Daytona, we're working lap number 37. When we get back to the stripe here, we'll have about 63 laps left to go here in this one, so plenty of time. The halfway point still to come as well, too, in this race. So drivers that haven't utilized that fast repair as of yet, they still have that in their back pocket. Something, even those guys contending for the championship. We saw Seth DeMerchant on pit road basically sitting there, trying to get that car fixed as much as possible so they wouldn't have to use that reset here early on. The damage was limited, honestly, with what happened with the contact. So for Seth DeMerchant, that's probably a big sigh of relief for him as well here as we continue on lap number 38 when we get to green. So pace car getting set to head down to pit road. We'll get our second American Ethanol restart back underway. Green flag underway. Jason Altmans will lead the way to the flag. Frank Basilia, though, pretty good start as well, too. Both guys did very well on that restart right there, and they'll drag race it out for the race lead in turn 1.
Yeah, they're still side by side, and we saw Atwell, making that third lane work a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see him jump up here in a little bit as this 94 is just slowly falling back, maybe trying to push back on the straightaways. You see, that 04 is kind of shading up there. He's trying to get somebody to go with him, but now he's just going to stay right behind that 94 Frank Basilia and try to push him around this 51 machine. But it's so hard to get the high side going, especially when there's not a lot of cars around you, because you can get the run on the straightaways and get right up next to the car that is leading or the car that you want to pass. But as soon as you get to the corner, it's like you just hit a brick wall and you stall and you just basically lose the ground. As you see the 2 of Josh Hanner pull up, now this high side's going to start moving as they're going to train around this 51.
Yeah, definitely pull out the momentum right there. Josh Hanner to the high side. Frank Basilia on his back bumper right now off of turn number 2. How about that? He'll go 3 wide now. He'll split him, leave him in the no man's land there until the 83 of Ramon Evans can get up to the back bumper there. At least 3 cars help out the 2. The 94 of Frank Basilia, though, able to clear the 2 of Josh Hanner. Not able to get Atwell down there as well, too. Now the question is, does he leave Atwell out to dry? He does, as he drops down here off of turn number 4. Then they try to get back up towards the front. Atwell now left out there to dry. No help at all. He keeps falling back.
Yeah, the 2 got the sucker hole, and the 4 kind of got the slap in the face afterwards. That was a good move by that 94 to take the momentum away from that, or to take the momentum forward from the 2. But definitely has to make up a little more to get back out towards the front. Different faces up towards the front. We haven't seen the 94 this close to the top. Whoa! The 76 came out from the bottom a little bit more than I think the 94 expected, and definitely that showed going up the track a little bit. Maybe got some side draft unintentionally. The 76 definitely got off the back bumper of Jason Altman right there, and that's going to give that top or that high line a little bit more momentum, as we were just seeing them 2 by 2 the whole way back. And that's 51's doing a good job navigating the field right by this time, and the 96 trying to make his bid towards the front. Look how low that 76 is going on the apron, really on that yellow line. He's almost on that second yellow line, which is dangerous territory. We've seen it once before. The closer you get to that line, even if you're in the tri-oval, that's some dangerous territory.
Yeah, it definitely is. Tri-oval probably one of the worst places to have it happen. It seems to get very narrow right there when you go through there. So Frank Basilia on the top side now, back into turn number 3. Might have had Altman's cleared from the moment. He chooses to stay out there for the time being, leading that outside lane. Only 2 cars strong really on that bottom side there. Jason Altman's in that 51, Scott Warren in the number 76. Other than that, now you see Ramon Evans drop down to the bottom right in front of Rodney Wofford, one of those guys we talked about going for the championship, him and Seth the Merchant. And, of course, Seth the Merchant just a little bit. He's in this pack, but he's a little bit further back right now. They showed last time about a second off the race lead. He's basically drafted with that 00 of Dwayne Cooper, just trying to stay with the lead pack, but you don't really need to get into it, and he knows that. Champion that he is, nonetheless, looking to just kind of stay out of trouble for the time being, especially with the damage that he just occurred on that last caution.
Yeah, and one driver who is back up in the mix now, Garrett Atwell. He fell back, as you saw earlier. He got stuck on the high side and dropped like a ton of bricks. He was given that 2 car of Josh Hanner a shove down the back straightaway, and you see him doing it here again. He is all over that back bumper of that 2 car. He wants to get up there in the front. He's tired of being up here on the high side. He wants to get down on the bottom and maybe relax for a little bit, because that 4 of Garrett Atwell has been on an uphill battle this entire race.
So the battle continues 2 by 2, about 5, 6, 7 rows deep now as they work their way back into turn number 3. 3 wide action happening again. Atwell had a great run going into turn number 3. He'll leave that 2 car back in the sucker hole once again. He's awaiting some help, though, as he gets another car to join him. It's the 99, Kelly Dahl. How about that? The Canadian hockey paint scheme here tonight, and he's up to the front, and good to see that 99 having a fantastic run here as we get closer and closer to that halfway point. The 3 wide action, though, has kind of stalled those other lanes out right now. The top 3 make it the top 2 now as Hannah battles back down the top 2. The only ones cleared at the time being, but look at that run they getting right now with Kelly Dahl in the 2. Right up the middle and the outside starting to fight back as well. Still 3 wide for the race lead in 3.
Yeah, I'm going to nickname that number 2 car the Anchor at this point, because every time I see him, he just keeps getting, he just falls back, and I think it's just because people are realizing that the top and the bottom are the place to be. The middle is faster, but you got to have a lot of help, and when you don't, we've seen it time and time again. That 99 car of Kelly Dahl, he gets a little loose, a little squirrely in the tri-oval, still pushing hard. They're 2x2 for first position, really. 6th place, the 6th position really is what I'm meaning to say. It's just right there in that small bunch. That's crazy how a top 5 position is really at stake with that little space, as they're going really close to each other. It's getting a little crazy up there. 3 wide, almost 3 wide. 3 rows back, and the 24 thinks better of it. They're gonna cross a lap car here soon. He's gonna need to go to the top side. The 04 is probably gonna duck down there to prevent any 4 wide in situations. I know none of these drivers want to go 4 wide. Daytona's a big track, but 4 wide at this track is probably the most risky thing that these guys see, and they really don't want to see that.
Honestly, 3 wide at this track is pretty risky. Definitely a lot more narrow than you would see at Talladega, like we saw 1 week ago in the Cup Series cars there last week. So up front, kind of changed out a little bit, settled down anyway from the 3 wide action. We got still now 2 rows deep, or excuse me, 2x2 for 3 rows now, make it 4 rows as the 83 of Ramon Evans, 24 of Andrew Berger join the fight as well too, up towards the front of the field. Kind of a stalemate at the front of the field here as we work lap number 46. They're about to complete that one and give ourselves just about, we'll put about 55 laps left to go here in this one tonight. So that lap led, give it back to the 51 of Jason Altmans as he switches positions once again on that lap. So we talk about a place like this, the lead changes. How many lead changes could we have in a single race? Well, legitimately, it only keeps track of the ones that happen at the start-finish line, but to say that that's the only place we're having lead changes is an understatement in this one.
Yeah, it just, as soon as you see everything start to calm down in this race, it ramps back up. And, there's been so many lead changes, even from, turn 1 to turn 2 and the back straightaway. There's lead changes all over this place. So, you see the lead change at the start-finish line, but it doesn't do this race justice. Everybody's, working for that lead and just trying to get up there and stay up there. And, nobody's wanting to give up an inch yet. As you see, they're still side by side for the lead up there, as we got the 6th car of Jared Haggerty. He's going to join the mix now. He was involved in an earlier incident. He had to use his 1 fast repair to get back up there. It's great to see him back up and running and trying to make a charge for this lead.
Absolutely. The pressure, though, is on for that driver. Any more incidents, any more damage put to that car, he's going to have to sit there and wait for it to get fixed on pit road by his crew members. So 8 cars now trying to separate themselves from the rest of the pack. Glenn Hedrick at the back of that one right there in the number 21 car, trying to keep himself in the draft and trying to keep themselves away from this second little group that's starting to catch up now. Garrett Atwell leading that freight train now back into turn number 1 here. So side-by-side side-by-side action, I should say, continues up towards the front of the field. Good to see guys like Glenn Hedrick up to the front there. Had a great qualifying effort. He's been there since the start of the race here inside the top 10. Good to see him having a fantastic run here in the season finale as well.
Yeah, the 21s, they're looking for something to happen. I think he really wants to get it with this top group, and now the top group is really becoming the one group at this point. They're a little more spread out than what we would normally call a group, but I think we could easily say that since they're 11 seconds ahead of the next group, that we'll call this the group at the point. Now the 7 and the 32, they're a few spots away, but this is the closest they've been since the restart. So the 7 does have to think about how close the Merchant is. Now, the fact that he is a few rows and on the outside does give him the championship at this point if it were to end right now. But DeMerchant, I think, is just kind of holding his cards, waiting for something to happen. You know, we cannot forget about this battle that is going to happen as we're approaching halfway this time by. And look at that 21. He's really wanting to go to the top. That's Glenn Hedrick. Really wanting to go to the top, really wanting something to happen. I think he's wanting that 4 to go to the top and try and pass on the outside. Really wants some action, I think.
Wants some action. Doesn't want to be sitting in a straight line, and not one of those guys to be afraid to do that just as of yet. 3 wide starts to formulate once again as they head back to turn number 1. But we're at the halfway point. 50 laps left to go. And let's take a look at our iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the world's premier online racing game with professionally organized racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, and much, much more. Frank Basilia, your leader that last time by in the 94. Jason Altman sits there in second. Josh Hanner, third. Scott Warren is in the 4th spot. 5th goes to Andrew Berger. Kelly Dahl currently 6th. 7th is Jared Haggerty. Ramon Evans sits 8th. 9th right now is the 04 of Garrett Atwell. Rodney Wofford, one of our championship contenders, currently rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, and in that 11th position, that 21 of Glenn Hendrick. Chris Passini sitting there in that 12th spot. Travis Stewart 13th. Derek Walker 14th. Larry Camp coming out in 15th. Dwayne Cooper 16th. Seth the Merchant, one of those top dogs we've been paying attention to all race. He's all the way back in 17th. 18 is Brandon Monsivius. 19th Brandon Traburco, and 20th rounding out your top 20 is Josh Ball.
Alex Hallinar is right outside the top 20 and 21st. Christian Peterson, 22nd. Shane McEachin is in 23rd. Rittenauer, 24th. Gary Champion is in 25th. Paul Servant, 26th. Dana Osborne, 27th. Ami Hall, 28th. Matthew Welsenbach, 29th. And Rod Flagg finishes out your top 30. Dan Harrington is the last car on the lead lap in 31st. Roger Stewart is the first car a lap down, as we were talking about lap cars going around the field right now. And then Mark Jorgensen Jr. is also 1 lap down. Multiple laps down is going to be Kyle Manger, Greg Hooks, and Dennis Cook, all multiple laps down, and just trying to do everything they can to just finish out the night.
This has been your iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com and sign up today. You can use the LSRTV promo code by entering PR-2016 LSRTV when you register for a new iRacing membership. You get the late model free of charge with that promo code, along with the 13 cars and 14 tracks that are included with a first-time subscription. Again, that's PR-2016 LSRTV for new memberships only. So the halfway point is come and gone. Frank Basilia continues to lead the way up towards the front of the field. Josh Hanner as well in that number 2 car up there battling for this one. We'll take this time here to step aside. You're watching the Superspeedway Cup Series right here on LSRTV and iRacing Live. Welcome you back here to Daytona International Speedway. Under caution, a big wreck there. An engine had expired. One of the drivers will pull up the replay on this one, but an engine expired, and then trouble proceeded behind him. One of those drivers involved, the 32 of Seth DeMerchant, one of our championship contenders, involved in that one there tonight. Probably at the moment here that he's saying, I'm glad I saved that reset.
Yeah, definitely. As you see, the 21 of Glenn Hendrick, he was the car that blew up under there. I guess, like I said, these cars overheat really fast, and he must have lost track, or just couldn't get it cooled down enough, because he was the first victim. As you see, both chasers involved in this wreck, so they still got their fast repair. It doesn't seem like there's too much damage to that 32, so he should still be safe.
Yeah, him and the 7 do have a lot of damage, and if I was both of those drivers with the amount of damage that they have, I mean, they're not going to be going fast. So let's just say that. They both have substantial damage. It's not going to be, I don't think either of them have huge engine damage. I think Seth does have some good right front damage. The 7 car has a lot of rear end damage, so even no amount of draft is going to help him. I think it's going to be a good idea to stay in the pits for that driver, but I think Seth does have to take that fast repair. He's going to have to swallow the pill on that one, which if the 7 knows that, then he should he should save his fast repair just in case. This is going to be, I think this caution itself, of course, since they're both involved, is going to be kind of the pivoting point of this championship.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's going to be adversity for these drivers to see who can come back from this, get those fast repairs possibly, maybe even for the 7, just get what damage you can get fixed, get back out on the racetrack, and then save that one still towards the end. We still have over 40 laps to go. Pit road open, though. The leader's heading down that way. Frank Basilia leads the way now. He'll slide into his pit stall as the 2 of Josh Hanner. He'll make his way all the way down to pit stall number 3. Right side tires going on for the 94. Frank Busilia gets that thing packed full of fuel. He'll be down and away, so just a 2-tire stop for the 94. I expect that out of some of the other drivers as well. Josh Hanner in the 2 tires as well, as they both come off of pit road the same way they came on, but a pretty good stop for the 94. He'll win the race convincingly.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers, like I expected them to do, Daytona doesn't wear the tires a lot, so you can really pick and choose what tires you want to put on here. So a lot of these drivers will just take 2 and just ride it out. So a lot of these drivers benefiting from that. You got Josh Hanner, Ramon Evans, Kelly Dahl. They're all reasonably up there towards the front. So it's a great strategy call by them. I feel bad because it puts the 7 of Wolford and DeMerchant back in the pack. Wolford finding himself back towards as far as back as he's been all night. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can make his way back up through the field.
This is what makes a champion. If you can make it through the adversity in a single race, in a season, in a championship run, this is what we'll show you for this one here. Some interesting things being said in the chat, which is always fun. It's unfortunate everybody can't hear that, but we get to hear the comedic jokes, the comedic relief that can happen in that one as well. So Seth DeMerchant, 32 car. He will get the damage fixed. He will get out on the racetrack. He will be shown as your race leader. So a good place to be right now for Seth DeMerchant. He stayed out on the racetrack, didn't pit. So that gives him a little bit of an advantage, obviously, for the track position. But however, it puts him in a spot that if we get a pretty decent green flag run, he's going to end up having to come down pit road earlier, much earlier. Than the rest of the field as well, too. So lap number 60 going up on the board right now. Probably about 39 or so to go when we get to green flag here. It's been a fun race. A lot of 3 wide action, guys. A lot of swapping positions for the lead. Guys making those sudden moves from lane to lane. We like seeing that kind of stuff. Keeps the races pretty interesting. Really puts you up on the edge of your seat. But at the same time, there's a championship that's being paddled here, and we saw this most recent caution. A couple of those drivers involved in that. Seth DeMerchant had some damage from there. The 7 of Rodney Wofford as well, who currently showing in that 20th spot. So a lot of things can happen still. Lots of racing left to go here, but it's been fun so far.
Yeah, and I just got word from the DeMerchant team that they will probably be coming down pit road. They can't even lead at this point with the amount of damage they have, and I think it's obvious with as much tail end damage as he has and front end damage. So they're going to go in. More than likely, they're going to get that fast repair. But I think the most interesting part of this is that the 7 car did take the fast repair. So they are going to be on equal playing ground, and they will be at the back together. So this is kind of one of those moments where you kind of grin ear to ear, and you're going to yourself, here it comes, and you're seeing him come down pit road, and he'll make his dive down to his pit stall here very shortly. You'll see the tires, the 2 jacks go up, and then you'll see his car instantly buffer out the damage. So this is going to be quite interesting. They're going to be at the back together, and oh boy, here we go.
Hey, that's all it takes. You just got to keep that guy close to you. When you're battling that close, 5 points separating those 2 guys when they came into the tonight. So as long as you keep them close, within your mirror, in your mirror behind you or within sight outside the front windshield, that's what you want to do when you're battling a guy that close in the championship fight for it here tonight. So season number 13 going to finish here tonight. A slight break, something we don't usually get with the Superspeedway Cup Series. We'll have a few weeks off because of the holidays, but they'll get right back at it in the first of the year. So a pretty good deal for these guys here to finish out the season here tonight. Get to go enjoy Thanksgiving next week, and then, of course, after that, it's pretty much all downhill from there. Christmas will be here before you know it. So a lot of time off for these guys, which wouldn't be a bad thing. Typically, we would start the next season next week. So a little bit of a break for these guys. A much needed, I think, for some of them. Spend a little time maybe with some loved ones on Friday nights instead of here with us on LSRTV. But nonetheless, we will be back for season number 14. So look forward to that coming up in the new year. So Frank Basilia, current year leader. Josh Hanner sits second, third right now as Ramon Evans, Kelly Dahl fourth, and Andrew Berger make up the top 5 for this restart here. 39 laps is what we'll have left to go here at Daytona. Probably a one more stop for these guys as far as fuel goes, and we'll see if that plays out under caution or if we'll have green flag till the end. Pace car down and away. Green flag will wave. Good jump on the outside lane there from that 2 of Josh Hanner. He'll keep it even now, side by side, as they race for that race lead back into turn 1.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how these top 2 chasers treat the rest of the race. With both of them now using their fast repair, this is it. They don't have a saving grace anymore. They're both deep in the field. You got Warford in 14th and DeMerchant back in 28th. So it's going to be interesting to see. They've been caught up in other people's garbage throughout the race. So it's going to be interesting to see how they treat this race moving forward.
Yeah, definitely. You're going to have to be extra careful, too, as we get some 3 wide action. Josh Hanner basically gets pushed up outside on the outside lane. No help. He'll drop back in line somewhere outside the top 10 right now. Some 3 wide action. How about these 2 drivers? We know and expect this out of them right now, but how about the 88 and the 22? Mark Jorgensen Jr., Brandon Chamberko forcing their way 3 wide now into turn number 1 and 2, and those 2 drivers definitely not afraid to have some fun, is what they call it, moving up there on the high side. How about the 2 of Josh Hanner saying, I'll come out there and help, and Jorgensen says, nope, thank you very much, we'll go around the outside.
Yeah, and Jorgensen's trying to get that lap back, whether it's the hard way or not. And he's trying to be that first car on the lead lap. He does have Jason Altman also looking for that lap back, and Roger Stewart, he's also looking for that lap back as well. And that's something, some drivers don't like it when they're racing with lap cars because they're going to say that they're ruining the race. But at the same time, there's other drivers that really are racing, and the best position they can be is really just as high as they can get on with other drivers as well. So can't blame them for trying to race and keep their position. That way they can get that all-important lucky dog if the caution ever comes out. Of course, with the way the racing has been going, we may actually only get 1 caution flag before the end of it, statistically, at this portion of the race. Of course, towards the end of these races, we get a little more dicier as it goes on, but up front, we do have Frank Basilia holding off Ramon Evans and Andrew Berger, and it's still 2 wide up here at the front. They're going to go side by side, and it looks like Ramon Evans will get the lap led this time by a good margin, about half a car length And that outside lane with Kelly Dahl right behind him, and we've been talking about how he has been really charging up. This has been really a really good day for him at this point in the race, and he's really given a good push.
Yeah, 22nd to 3rd for the 99 of Kelly Dahl. He's second in line. Make that third line now as Frank Pasilli goes back to the high side. He'll surrender the bottom side now to the 24 of Andrew Berger. His 3 wide action continues down to turn number 3. Alex Hallinar. Oh, contact.
It's not over.
There goes the 78. Josh Ball, he's around. Looks like everybody's going to be able to settle it down there to 23.
No,
a little
no, it's
trouble
not.
off of
They're
turn
still
number 4.
wrecking.
They're wrecking it still off turn number 4. But caution flag out once again here on lap number 66. It's Josh Ball, Alex Hallinar that were in that outside lane. The 78, though, just out of control there. Ends up bouncing off a couple cars, bouncing into the wall. Heavy damage into the air. Just one of those wrecks we love to see when you come to these restricted plate races right there. So Josh Ball in the number 78 brings out the caution here once again at Daytona.
Yeah, very unfortunate for that 78 car. He, got a little contact, and it looked like he was going to save it there for a little bit, but just couldn't keep it under him, and he went around and then went up and over through the rest of the field. So crazy wreck here late in this Daytona race.
Yeah, it could have been a bunch much worse too as well. But fortunate enough for those other guys, they were able to dodge the wreck there. The 22 involved after he got run over, it looks like from the 8 of Dana Osborne. So Brendan Chaburka, we know he used his reset early on. Might be the end of the day for that number 22. So pit road will be open this time by, and they were just on pit road, so I highly doubt we might see some of these leaders maybe to top off, though, to see if they cannot maybe possibly get themselves to the end of this race without having to come down pit road at all the rest of the time. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Pit road's open. Here they come. The leaders, they're heading that way.
Yeah, we're seeing all of them come down. The 94, the 24, they're coming down pit road. We do have a couple guys staying out, but I think the biggest thing, the number 7 car is in. And I think the 32 is coming down as well. I don't see him out here, but it does look like a splash and go for a lot of these drivers. 99, the 76, they had splash and go. The 33 as well, or the 83, I'm sorry, and the 94 also took fuel only. Just like you said, it's a little small splash of gas, no tires needed. They really want that track position. But yeah, it looks like the 32 may have stayed out.
Yeah, quite possibly could have stayed out here, and obviously track position going to help him out a lot more than riding around in the back here in this one. So some waiver rounds going to come around. We're going to take this time, step aside, a quick break here. You're watching Superspeedway Cup Series right here on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
It was interesting this morning to come out here and get on the track and look closely at how rubber was starting to kind of take to the track, where there were ruts and spots that looked still like dirt, and other spots were super shiny and had a bluish tint.
We scanned this track twice because we needed to be able to measure the differences between the track before it's raced and after it's raced. With dirt track racing, the dynamics of the track change dramatically once it's raced on throughout the race. And by scanning it beforehand, we were able to gain a baseline that we're now able to compare with the scan from after the race. Take a look at the cushion, see where it's built up, see how deep it is, and try to figure out some of these variables that we'll have to account for when we create our digital representations of dirt racing and dirt tracks. Our associate producer, Kevin Einarelli, was actually quite the soldier, and he stayed here all night scanning so that we could get this second scan, because in the morning after the race, they ripped the track up. So the window that we have to collect that data is very limited. So thanks, Kevin. So we had a similar approach with the photography of this track that we had with the laser scan. we photographed it twice. So we were able to get in here right before the race started, right after all the trucks had finished running the track in, and take reference photography of the track. And then we returned today and took another set of reference photography. And we took photos of all the various elements that we need to account for: the cushion, the groove, the areas of the groove that have received rubber, and the apron. And we have a specific technique that we use to take these shots. We are using something called photogrammetry. What photogrammetry is essentially the science or a method which will allow us to take photographs and extract three-dimensionality from them using common elements between the photographs. And it's a great technique to create textures for our racing sim, and it's something we've been doing for a while, but it's especially helpful with dirt because of the three-dimensional characteristics of the dirt and the way it collects. So it's a really good technique, and it should result in a great looking racetrack.
A lot of what I'm seeing kind of confirms what we already believed and already knew and have already started working on. So, my plan is to get together with Dave Kamer and get in detail about what's going on between the tire and the road, because the ruts seem to be a significant piece of the puzzle, where the rubber shows up on top of the ruts. So getting the tire grip correct on a track that has as much variation as a dirt track does is going to be key.
We know that every racetrack, every dirt racetrack is unique. Different soil compositions, different color, different types of grooves develop depending on the different types of cars. So this process that we've gone through this weekend is not going to be a one-off thing. We're going to do it again, increase our knowledge, and we'll take that knowledge home with us, and it will help us create a better version of these tracks in iRacing.
Welcome you back here to Daytona International Speedway as we get set to get the restart back underway. And we're going to have about 31 laps left to go here in this one as the field is double filed. Lights are off on the pace car. And we get to set to see who will be crowned the champion in season number 13. Tommy Hall is going to lead the way to the green flag. Glenn Hedrick on the outside of that front row. Has had himself one hell of a race here tonight. We'll see if he can finish that one off. Pace car down and away. Green flag back out in the air. The top side going to get shuffled back just a little bit. Glenn Hedrick not quite on the gas quick enough there, but he'll have some help now. Shane McKeach on the back bumper along with Frank Basilia, and they're going to challenge for the race lead in turn one.
Yeah, the 21 didn't get the start that you normally see up on that high side, but that's not going to stop him yet. He's powering back on that high side of that 29 of Tommy Hall. He got a little bit caught off guard there, but it's going to work for him as it looks like he's going to clear this 29 and maybe take the 28 with him. He may try to, but it's not going to work, so he's going to come down in 9 and just leave that 28 up there to dry.
Yeah, he'll leave the 28 on the outside now with 94. Oh, no! Contact! Frank Basilia all up in front. More damage to the 32 of Seth DeMerchant. Able to hang on to it as he's going through the grass. Oh, my goodness. Oh, what a wild one so far here tonight. Hopefully that 7 of Rodney Wofford was far enough back. We'll have to keep an eye on him, see if he got any damage, but trouble up in the front of the field here. Caution back out on lap 71.
Even though that 32 took a huge left, I don't see any huge damage on it. I mean, he may have been lucky enough to get one of those lucky net codes, but I'm trying to look at it right now. His right front looks pristine.
Yeah, it looks like he got hit just right square in the door, so it's going to be interesting to see. He should be all right with the fenders being okay on that 32, but, man, I'll tell you what, he did a heck of a job hanging on to that thing as well, too. So another close call for Seth DeMerchant on that one here. And this is what makes these chases in the Superspeedway Cup Series so much fun. It's just the fact that it's not over till it's over is number one. But two, how much pressure, how much stress do you think is on these drivers right now, especially those two guys that are racing for the championship when everybody around you is crashing?
Yeah, and it's just it's crazy. It's like pandemonium out here. This race today has produced, maybe 2 or 3 big ones, just in the last few laps here. It's almost like we always say, cautions breed cautions. So is it ever going to stop? Are we ever going to get a green flag run back in it? The 32 and the 7 have just been narrowly avoiding all these incidents, and some of them have, and they've even used their fast repair on one of these incidents. So it's getting a little bit too close for comfort, I think, for these guys.
It definitely is. Pit road open once again. Seth the Merchant down there. He's going to get serviced under that car. Also going to get whatever damage he had on that right side fixed up and get himself back out on the racetrack here in this one. Scott Warren currently shown as your race leader as he stayed out, I should say, on this caution. So he will get some laps led. He will also have the opportunity to lead the field to the green flag. Kelly Dahl, fantastic run so far for that driver. Sitting right now in the second spot. Frank Busilia has been a threat up front too as well. But you look at the standings. Those top 3 guys right now all started outside the top 10. 13th for Frank Busilia. Scott Warren, Kelly Dahl started 21st, 22nd respectively. So, I mean, you're going to see this in these restrictor plate races. Guys starting in the back, coming to the front. Guys in the front that just have a bad race and end up in the back. So, I mean, it really throws out the whole qualify up front. You'll have yourself a pretty good night. You can throw that out the window when you come to these racetracks.
Yeah, and when you think about starting up front, maybe going to the back, I also think about coming back up to the front. Mark Jorgensen Jr. was a lap down at one point in this race, and he is back up in the top 20. These cautions are really what he needed, and so did a couple other drivers. Christian Peterson is also back on the lead lap as well, and that's really what these guys they obviously are going to be really happy to be right back on the lead lap, trying to advance their position as much as possible. As if you look down pit road here real quick, you're going to see Seth the Merchant getting off pit road just in time to get to keep his lap. At this point, he was trying to get that all important space on the track so that he would not be held a lap down. He's also getting that all important damage fixed. He will be starting at the very end of the field, and it's almost like they're trading places. It's like the Rodney Wofford's back at the front now, Seth the Merchant's in the back. Now I have to wonder, is it Rodney Wofford's turn to have a little bit of an issue before this one's over? It's we've had 2 cautions really quick back to back, and if you think they're over, I'd say you're absolutely wrong, as we only got a little bit under a quarter of a way of the distance to go at this point.
Yeah, you're definitely right about the not being the last one, most likely, on this most recent caution. Still tons of time, 28 laps to go under the caution flag right now, currently. So you're getting to that point about a quarter distance away, and I mean, we talk about these races or iRacing, the service in general. The fact that you get a caution after 5 laps to go, chances are you're not getting back under green. So as a driver trying to get your win, you can't wait till that last lap pass. You really got to basically be racing up to that what would be the final the final run there. So it's just it's one of them things to keep an eye on for these guys, and it's so much fun to watch, and we got tons of time, but there's not a lot of time for some of these guys to come from the front to the back, or go from the back to the front, I should say. So they got to get it done. They got to get up there. They got to get every possible point they could possibly get in order to either secure the championship in Seth the Merchant's case, or in Rodney Wofford's case, to try to gain and try to maximize the distance as well.
Yeah, getting up there is one thing, but staying up there is another. We've seen so many fresh faces up there towards the front that have just been eaten up by this day. So it's kind of ironic in a sense that Daytona is such an easy track, but it's not at the same time. It is easy in the fact that you don't have to hit the brakes as much, and don't have to it doesn't require as other drivers would say as much skill as the others, but I think it requires even more skill, because you have to treat this track like a whole different beast, and treat it as its own, and race it completely different than you would any other track, and ultimately make the right moves to end your race in victory lane.
So lights out on the pace car. Doubled up is the field down the back straightaway right now. A quick look at where our championship contenders are. Rodney Wofford currently in the 11th spot. And then you got to go a little bit further back. How about way further back to see Seth the Merchant. He is currently way back in the field there in the 30th spot. So last driver on the lead lap. He's actually on pit road, still getting damage repaired to that machine. He's got to get back out there, though, if he wants to be able to get to the pack. But I have a feeling it's not going to happen. So Seth the Merchant not where he wants to be right now. He's on pit road, still trying to get some damage fixed to that car. We get set for the green flag here. Scott Warren going to lead us to the green flag here. Pace car's down and away. Green flag does wave, and a pretty good jump on the outside lane as well. Kelly Dahl on this restart. He's got Rittenauer. He's got Alex Hallinar as well. Look at the 88 of Mark Jorgensen Jr. Timed the restart just right. He's going to push it 3 wide just outside the top 10 now into turn 1.
Whoa, right there. That's pretty close racing right there. The 88, he's got a second shot at getting a really good finish, if not a win. We've seen that 88 make some pretty fantastic moves in the past. He's going to go down and anchors away. But this top 6 right here, they're really making some bold moves, trying to drive away from that 6 car. And the 64 is giving a big push to the 87. And Kelly Dahl, look at him. He's bumped to the front. He's got a big space between him and the 76. Going to pick up that 76 that's going to be the 76. And he's going to pick him up, try and give him a push to the front, give him a good, maybe get a lap led, and see what he can do here with these last quarter going here.
So a couple drivers up to the front right now looking for their first ever career wins in the Superspeedway Cup Series right now. Kelly Dahl leads the way on the bottom side. He'll get the bonus point. Scott Warren, I should say, right on his back bumper, but it looks like the 32 of Seth the Merchant done for the night. Not what he wanted there. Of course, Rodney Wofford in a prime position now, still on the lead lap. Obviously, he's aware of where the 32 is, the type of damage. He's just got to limit what he faces here in this last 25 laps of this race. So it'll actually be 24 as they cross the start-finish line this time. Give that lap lead once again to Kelly Dahl as he continues to lead the way and show the way here in this one here. We're closing in on 20 laps to go. We'll go nonstop side-by-side action here on LSRTV. You're watching the Superspeedway Cup Series right here on iRacing Live. Welcome me back here to Daytona International Speedway under caution again. We'll call it the big one right there. Rodney Wofford, the other championship contender involved in that wreck too, right down immediately to pit road. He will be down there for service under his car. Pit road is open. Frank Basilia, the first of the leaders in that number 94 car, to come down as the replay goes up on your screen of that wreck. And man, I'll just tell you what, that was a big one right there. Took out a lot of drivers in this race, including one of our championship contenders. So Seth the Merchant already out. Now the 7 with problems of his own. We talked about this earlier, that you would need major help. Well, let's put it this way. Andrew Berger came into the night 26 points out. Currently shown in the 9th spot. I'm sure that'll reset before we get back to the green here. But currently 9th. You got to look all the way back down to see Seth the Merchant out of contention. Rodney Wofford out of contention in 27th. That's a lot of points right there made up there. This could be an upset in the making for guys like Garrett Atwell, Andrew Berger. It's too close to tell where they're running right now. But I'll tell you what, if those two drivers, I know one of them can't get back out there, but if Rodney Wofford cannot get back out on the racetrack, maybe get his lap back, get some positions back, you might be talking about an upset here tonight. Andrew Berger coming into the night, 26 points out, 30 points out for Garrett Atwell. Even Mark Jorgensen Jr. with 33 points out. With the separation these guys have for the point system, basically 2 points separating them all the way down to like 22nd place. I forget what it is. This is going to be awfully close and probably too close to tell until we get the official results from the race control.
Yeah, and I mentioned at the top of the hour that, this fireworks would fire off here tonight, and it's showing now, and it's not what I expected at all. I expected Seth the Merchant and Rodney Wolford to put on a great show, but they've been plagued by just bad luck, both of them today. They've been involved in many incidents throughout the day, and finally the bad luck just caught up with them. So now you got Andrew Berger and Garrett Atwell, who could quite possibly, one of these two could pull off the upset. So it's going to be interesting to watch these final maybe 28 laps when we go back green and just see how this all plays out.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 19th on the board. We knew it would reset. Andrew Berger came down pit road, so now he's showing in 19th. The 04 of Garrett Atwell right in front of him in 18th that last time by. The start-finish line when everything resets as far as the running order. So it's going to be this is going to be absolutely totally interesting. And I mean, honestly, you talk to anybody coming into tonight, you have these two drivers up front, possibly two of the best ever in the Superspeedway Cup Series. You got Seth the Merchant, a two-time champion, looking for his third. You got Rodney Wofford, the most career wins ever with 18 in the series. He doesn't have a championship as of yet. Came into the night hopeful of that. Now you look at guys that are 26 points out, 30 points out. I mean, this is absolutely phenomenal. These last 20 or so laps that we're going to have in this one, they're going to mean a lot for some of these drivers.
And if the drivers behind these first two don't make it, let's say they don't pass them, I don't know which one of these drivers actually is going to be ahead, because Rodney Wofford is one lap down. Whether he gets, if another caution comes out, that will be his best saving grace. Of course, he does have Ramon Evans to still fight on the track. If he loses that spot, it's over for him. He will lose to Seth the Merchant. But if he keeps that spot, then, or he's 2 laps down, sorry, so he getting a lap back is going to be difficult. If he keeps that spot and doesn't go any faster or any farther, Rodney Wofford will basically have to hopefully have the most laps led to beat the Merchant if it comes between them. So, we're just going to have to look through all the results after the race, and of course we're going to have to see the rest of the race, of course, to see if there's that huge upset that I think there's a little bit in all of us that kind of want to see that little bit of redemption from some of these drivers that had bad luck earlier. And speaking of redemption, look who's out at the front. The 99 of Kelly Dahl, he's out front making a statement, making a great race for himself. I'm sure at this point in the race, has a pristine looking car, and hopefully he's wanting to take advantage of this moment.
I'll tell you what, in the 3+ years that I've been doing these broadcasts on iRacing, I don't think I've ever seen a championship battle. What could happen here tonight really actually happened. So Seth the Merchant, Rodney Wofford, we mentioned arguably two of the best that ever drove in this series. And to find those two, 5 points separating them coming into tonight, 26 ahead of third. Who would have ever thought that you would see both those cars in the garage with as many laps that are left in this one? So it's gonna be awesome to watch, and don't blink, because it's gonna happen. 19 laps left to go here in this one when they cross the start-finish line, and oh boy, it's time we got to get going once again. Pace car down and away. Kelly Dahl looking to lead the field to the green flag. Green flag will wave. Pretty good jump on that bottom side. Tons of help, though. Ray Rittenauer in the back bumper. Shane McKeechin, a checkup by the 33 of Larry Camp on the high side. That's going to send a couple drivers back. Gives the bottom side now the advantage. They're holding serve now, about 12, 13 cars strong now into turn number 1.
Yeah, and it's all well and good. All this racing is nice and tight, but it's not over yet. I don't think we've seen the last caution. These laps are ticking down pretty fast. You mentioned earlier, when we get within that 5-lap mark, it's over once a caution comes out. I don't think we've seen the last one yet. It's just when the last one strikes.
Oh, it's going to be interesting to see. Side-by-side battle up to the front, still continuing on. Warren now to the lead here on lap number 83. He'll take that spot. Alex Hallinar giving him the push. Frank Basilia is there, as long with Josh Hanner. Now you get a little further back. You get the guys that are trying to switch lanes, trying to figure out which lane is going to give them the advantage. The 3 of Paul Servin, he was the first to drop down to the bottom. And now they're 6 cars strong on either lane right now. Backstretch, the advantage. To the top side, Frank Basilia looking 3 wide. Chooses wisely, though, as Warren continues to lead in 3.
And we haven't really talked about Warren being up to the lead. I mean, he's been a really big pusher at this point in the race, but he's never really had his chance to get up there. He's been patient. He's been up there towards the front. And if you're up there long enough, those players at the top, sometimes they'll take themselves out. Bad luck will strike. And at this point in the race, this is his time to shine. The 64, I've only done a few races here in the Super Speedway Cup, but I haven't seen this car so strong as he is tonight. He's in the top 5 doing some really good swings at these leaders, and I'm sure he wants a good top 5 finish, if not the win at this point. And he's got the 94, a good pusher behind him.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely a good pusher right there behind him. Kelly Dahl in prime position with Ray Rittenauer on his back bumper down the bottom side. Warren will edge out just a bit into turn number 3. This time they'll stall back out here. The bottom lane kind of getting some separation here now. Everybody's starting to check up. Just a little bit of a bobble will cause that. It's going to give that advantage to the high side. Not this time, though. Kelly Dahl, he'll lead lap number 84. Put that one in the books. How about 16 laps left to go here at Daytona?
Yeah, I think the engines are starting to come into play here. They've used the engines up these past few laps, and everybody's just trying to cool them off. As you see, nobody's really up on the back bumper. You see now the 64 just now gets up to the back bumper of that 76 of Scott Warren to try to back straightaway and get it clear. And now they might have him going into 3, but as I mentioned before, once they get to 3, they just hit that brick wall, and now you'll see the bottom line power back through. So Kelly Dahl and Ray Rittenauer are doing a great job of just controlling this field and just picking and choosing when they want to push.
That's what it's all about, and that's what's getting the job done right now for Kelly Dahl, Ray Rittenauer. Those two on the bottom side by themselves, basically outnumbered on the top side, but they're able to keep that lead, and at least for the time being, keeping that top spot on the inside lane. The laps are ticking down here. This is getting interesting. Tight quarters now off of turn number 2. Some lap traffic. Garrett Atwell in the 04. The field will make its way around him. No problems that time here. The drag race, though, continues into turn 3.
Yeah, they had the skinny down just a little bit down the back straightaway. That's the best place to catch those lap traffic cars. But up front, it's basically the same story. You're seeing that 2 car wanting to go out. That's Josh Hanner. He's wanting to go out with the 94. The 94 does indeed do that. That makes a 3 wide situation. 64 is going to be all by himself, and I think they're going to have to think better of it. It's not as big of a jump as they were initially thinking, but definitely they know that's going to be coming again. That's more of like a sneak peek preview of what's going to happen. But what that does is, as you see right here, this gives those first two cars a huge little boost. Now, it may not be that good for them because that means that these guys are going to be hard charging behind them. The driver that's going to have the biggest issues at 87, the 99 might be able to choose where he gets to go. Alex Hallinar, this is the highest he's been all day, third. Going on for the lead. He's going to get a huge push from that 76 coming on after the corner, and the 94 is there too at the 2. It's a six-way battle for the lead.
Yeah, 3 wide, 2 rows deep now to the start-finish line. Alex Hallinar give him the lap lead that time from the middle lane. Kelly Dahl trying to hang on to the bottom. Contact, though. Warren drops back below. He'll make contact with Kelly Dahl. They keep it straight, though. Cleared out now. The top 2 on that middle lane able to drop to the bottom. Alex Hallinar to the lead. Warren on the back bumper. Now Frank Busilia trying to lead the charge on the outside. He's got Hanner pushing him into turn 3. Contact, heavy contact. The 76 of Warren up into the 94 of Frank Busilia. That starts it. He comes down, hits Kelly Dahl. Damage to the right side and heavy damage and a big accident on the backstretch.
Yeah, I think that 76 of Scott Warren was thinking he was clear, and he wasn't really clear, and he came up and just clipped that 94 and just sent him around. Really unfortunate for that 99 of Kelly Dahl. He had such a strong race today, and he's going to find himself all the way in the back of the pack with heavy damage. So very unfortunate for those drivers that were involved in this race, this wreck.
Yeah, I don't know.
The only bonus I think for the 99 is he might still have that reset in the back pocket. It's been a pretty clean race for him in this one. The replay, of course, up on your screen, and just thought he was clear. Tried to go up to the top side, obviously wasn't. Clipped Frank Busilia down. He went back down into the 99 of Kelly Dahl, and the rest is history on that one. So Alex Hallinar continuing to lead right now. We are under caution here. Well, hopefully it could be the final one of the night. Pit road will be open. I imagine most of the leaders will stay out, except for those that were involved on this most recent caution.
Yeah, Alex Hallinar got a huge break by not having the issue of getting passed by that 76. The 76 had a huge run, of course, and that's why he went up there, then got a big push from that 94 who wasn't exactly expecting it. Now, 76 actually almost got the lead and almost took that one away from the 64, but how about that 64? Where has he been all day? Started 10th, went back and kind of stood in the middle of the teens area of the grid, and here he is at the front where it matters the most with about 11 laps to go this time by. We'll get about another restart or two, hopefully just one, as these guys are going to get none of these guys are coming down pit road. You know, I think that's a smart idea for a lot of these guys. There's not enough laps at this point in the race to come down pit road, and even if you're Kelly Dahl with the massive damage that he does have, he is sitting in third, and he's going to be slow. He is aware of that. The 2 has a good amount of damage, but they got to stay out there. If they come down pit road, they're going to be 16th, 17th, around that area, and they're already damaged. So, yeah, people behind them might not be happy, but they have to get the best finish that they can with the car that they got. If they go to the pit road, it's going to be over at that point.
So an update on the championship drivers, where they sit, where they run right now. Where'd he go? Seth the Merchant, 31st, 16 laps down. Rodney Wofford sits in 25th. That's 6 spots. That's 6 points. Wofford might be the one we might be crowning champion. However, with him being down in 25th spot right now, you got to take a peek at Andrew Berger, 9th on the board right now. You got to look at Garrett Atwell right now. Currently, looks like he might have had some damage in that one a couple of wrecks ago, so he's out of contention, laps down as well too. So really the only one on the track with the opportunity to really basically upset the field here is Andrew Berger, and that would be his 4th championship in his career, a feat unlike none other for Superspeedway racing, and he does it very, very quietly. We're never talking about flashy moves by the 24, or excuse me, by him. We never ever see anything it's very quietly, very patient from Andrew Berger to get up to the front of the field week in and week out, and it pays off. It's exactly what he did 2 seasons ago when he picked up his 3rd championship. So we'll see what can happen on this one. I think to have the chance, he has to get, I think, a couple more spots, but he's sitting in prime real estate right now with those 2 guys on pit road.
Yeah, and if there was one driver who could get it done, it would be that 24 of Andrew Berger. You know, he's been flying under the radar a little bit during this race. We've seen him up front a few times, but he, like you mentioned, he's just very patient. And we got a little update on the 7 of Woodford. He's back on track in that 25th position. He's now 4 laps down after receiving that wave around, so that could also shake some things up if if he can gain some spots maybe, which it doesn't seem too likely, as we're only going to have enough time for maybe 1 or 2 more yellows. So it's going to be very interesting to watch this 24 and the 7 play out here.
Yeah, he would basically have to have a caution here momentarily. A bunch of guys would have to drop out. They'll go laps down, and then he would be able to get some positions off of that, but still at least back out on the racetrack for the 7 of Rodney Wofford. 10 laps to go right now currently as we sit under the yellow flag, and lights are still flashing on that pace car, so we're going to have to go around at least one more time here in this one. So the championship comes down to tonight. The title Trot 250 is what the name is, with the Turkey Day basically around the corner here, less than a week away. We'll be celebrating Thanksgiving Thursday of next week. So the holidays are fast approaching, everybody. I mean, this is just one of them things. You love these races. We're going to have a break. These guys are leaving it all out on the racetrack right now. They want to win that last race of the season, whether they have a chance at a championship or not. I mean, it's the nature of the beast as far as the racer's concerned.
Yeah, these guys are really they're going to get that break. We talked about it earlier. This series has basically gone back to back multiple seasons in a row, and it's a lot of hard work for the admins and the owners of this league, and they have taken the opportunity to take the opinions from the drivers and decided that it'd be a good idea to take a step back and take a relaxing moment. And I think the best time of the year is to do it right here when the holidays are happening here in the States, of course. And it also gives you time to look at, to kind of take a step back and look forward on maybe what you could do better for the league. There's always things changing in this league. This is the first time the chase format has happened, and these guys are really looking forward to maybe making some adjustments. When you run back-to-back seasons, it's hard to make adjustments like that. So I think this is a good opportunity for those guys. But nonetheless, we do have the lights off the pace car. In order to get to the off season, you have to finish the last race first.
Yeah, we absolutely have to, and we're going to have about 8 laps left to do it. Here as we get set to get the green flag, Alex Hallinar at the top spot right now. He'll lead them to the green flag as the pace car hits pit road. The green flag waves, and a great jump, a little bit of a checkup on the top side. The 00 Dwayne Cooper, not up to speed. He's going to drop way back now, and the rest of the field on the top lane there, they're going to have to scatter. They do scatter. Now Rod Flagg will push it 3 wide to get around that 1 car of Chris Bassini. He was up to speed, as the 1 had trouble getting up to speed as well as a result of that number 00. So off of turn number 2, the side-by-side action up front continues. Warren with the advantage now down the back straightaway.
Another driver with speed troubles is that 99 of Kelly Dahl, who was just involved in that last caution. You see that 87 of Ray Rittenauer on his back bumper still, but he just can't get up to the 64 and push him. So right now the high side's going to benefit off of the low line's misfortune, and that's going to get the 2 and the 76 right around these guys.
It absolutely is. How about Warren doing a great job trying to pick which lane he does. He drops to the bottom now into turn number 1. Leaves Hanner now to the top side here with 7 laps left to go here at Daytona, the final race of the season number 13. Oh, and now the 99 of Kelly Dahl drops below the yellow. He'll let these guys race it out. Obviously, the damage hurting that race car. Not able to keep that thing up to speed. Now look at Rod Flagg with the bold move to the bottom now in turn number 3. He's going to be the third car in line now as the bottom side prevails now off turn 4.
Huge push from that 64 is making that 76 go miles. That 64 has got a lot of horsepower still in this machine, and he got basically a bad draw from the 99 behind him. 99 thought he could make it the rest of the way with the damage, and you can't tell until you start racing, so you can't blame that driver for trying. And at this point, the only thing that 64 can do is to push that 76 so hard and then try and get around him on the outside. Sadly, he's in that little box I was talking about earlier, and he can't really do much. He's just got to keep pushing. I think the best thing he can do is just to push that till that thing blows. Because if he wants the win, I mean, if he wants to settle for third, he could just sit there. But that number, knowing that 64, I've actually raced with him before, and I know that driver wants to win. He's doing exactly that. He's not lifting at all, pushing as hard as he can. Look at him go on the outside right there.
Yeah, going to the outside. How about the block for a moment by Warren? It's going to be short-lived now. Move Rod Flagg up to the back bumper. How about 3 wide now?
Oh, no.
Turn number 3. He forces them below the yellow. Warren does. Cars are going to spin. Do we stay green?
Save
it looks like everyone able to save it, but 3 more cars will drop out of the top 10 right now as they continue to battle. How about Hanner now to the bottom? Those 3 wide for the race lead in turn 3.
Yeah, I was just about to say, the next flag ends this race, so that was almost costly as they make contact again, and the 6, big junk, the 6, getting turned there a little bit, saves it. They're still green. That's going to put cautions out. It's over. That's going to leave, the 54 machine will be your leader after that, with Andrew Berger coming home in second place. That's going to be huge for this chase. He may have this championship wrapped up with that huge wreck going into 3.
That is absolutely phenomenal job right there done by the 24. When we watch that replay, you just have to watch that 24 go all the way to the high side, and he survived everything, got around everyone. And I'm telling you something right there. That's a huge points gap right there between him and both the 7 of Rodney Wofford and the 32 of Seth the Merchant as far as where everyone is on the racetrack. Unbelievable right there. And then you got to look who's up front. Brandon Monsivice looking for his first career win ever. And how about doing it on the final race of the season? A fantastic job. Starting 35th. Not taking qualifying time. And there he is at the end of the race when it matters the most. There's 4 laps to go. They're coming around now to 3 laps to go, and this will end this one under the caution flag for the final race of the season, and crown our champion. I'm going to go on a limb and say it's the 24, but we're going to have to wait for race control to get the official official point standings, but we'll definitely check that out here. But 3 laps left to go here. It's going to be settled under the caution flag. Brandon Monsivice, all he's got to do is get around this racetrack for another 7.5 miles, and he's going to find himself a first-time winner in the Superspeedway Cup Series. A tremendous feat, nonetheless, for a driver who hasn't run a full season this year, and he's only been in this series about 3 seasons now. So it took a long time to get it done, but Brandon Monsivice in that number 54 running a special paint scheme tonight, too, as well. A great job for him. A great win as well, too, as long as he can make it back around here a couple more times.
Yeah, he can't pull the Mark Martin, of course, and in iRacing, it's not really going to let you do that. It'll display the white flag when it's supposed to. So, definitely, when you look at the field right now, you look at the top 5, you're going to kind of scratch your head and go, wait, where were those guys 10 laps ago? They weren't in the top 5. I don't think any of them were. And then Monsivice goes from 35th to first, starting grid. You talked earlier how it doesn't really matter which when you do where you start, it matters where you finish, especially at a track like this. But surprisingly enough, we weren't even talking about Monsivice or Berger in like even as soon as the caution flew. I mean, we had no clue where those drivers were. Monsivice passed both those guys on the outside, and the 24 just happened to not get in the wreck. And I have a really good feeling. I'm about 95% sure that he does actually have that championship wrapped out. There's just too many spots between him and Wofford. It'll probably go Berger, Wofford, the Merchant at this point. Doing a little math in my head. It's not official, of course, so don't put my words down like that. But I have a good feeling that's gonna be the case.
Yeah, basically where they run right now, Wofford in 23rd. He was able to make up a couple spots after coming back out on the racetrack. But 23rd to 2nd, you're talking a lot of points there. And Wofford had about a 21-point lead over Andrew Berger, basically, going into tonight. So it is going to be awfully close for this one. I mean, close to the point where it might even be just 1 point separating these guys. And honestly, even with Wofford making up, he made up another spot up to 22nd. So Wofford might actually come out with this one by a point or two. It is too close to tell. 2 laps to go, making a lap and a half here as they make their way down the back straightaway under the pace speed, I should say, 80 miles an hour right now. So, race win for Brandon Monsivice. Could be an upset for the championship. Could be Andrew Berger's 4th championship of his career in the Superspeedway Cup Series. He's been around since day one, season 1, some 5 years ago. So he's been around for a long time in this series. Kind of took a break about 3 or 4 seasons ago. Came back and won a championship 2 seasons ago, which was his first season back. Just unbelievable what is going to actually be the official results. This is just absolutely phenomenal. A way to end this season. How close this championship is going to come down to. Just the fact that this is just absolutely phenomenal.
So yeah, not counting bonus points. As we're being told right now, it looks like Andrew Berger is gonna pull the huge upset in the championship finale here at Daytona. He's gonna pull the huge upset over these two. So it's gonna be a good run by that 24. We're not gonna say it officially yet, but as of now, with our math, Andrew Berger has won by 5 points.
Yeah, it's gonna be close. So put it this way, it's gonna be close no matter what happens. But still a phenomenal way to end the season. And I'll tell you what, if he comes out the champion when the final tally is done, what a way to get the job done, to finish 2nd in the final race. Obviously, he came in needing a lot of help. He got that help. Wofford, Set the Merchant, both those drivers involved in some accidents late in the race, found themselves laps down. It's just going to be absolutely phenomenal. Came in behind Rodney Wofford, 21 points, with 26 points total out of this one. So this is going to be absolutely phenomenal when this is all going to be said and done, because it might be it's going to be close. Either way, it might be around 10-point difference, but either way, it's still close, too close to tell. Could be an upset for the champion, for Andrew Berger. We're on the white flag right now. But Brandon Monsivice, that's the story to talk about for the time being. First career win for the driver of the number 54. He's getting it done. He's getting it done in style here tonight, and at the right place at the right time. And he's going to get it done here as he comes to the start-finish line. He'll see the checkered flag wave. His first career win. Brandon Monsivice was going to victory lane here at Daytona.
Yeah, and like you said, just kind of right place, right time, and same thing for Andrew Berger. You know, sometimes it pays off to be more lucky than skillful. You know, that's not to say that 24 isn't skillful at all, but sometimes, especially at the Superspeedway Cup, you do have to have a little bit of lady luck on your side, and that's exactly what that 24 car did, and the 54 car did. We'll get the full results as we come back in Indy, and we'll hopefully have official results when we come back. But yeah, quite an interesting showing after this one. Not exactly what we expected.
No, it definitely is not. It's been a fantastic race, and Brandon Monsivice, well-deserved first career win. He will go to the front stretch. He'll do the burnouts. He'll do the victory celebration here tonight. We'll take a look at our LSRTV full field rundown right now before we take a break. Brandon Monsivice gets the win. Andrew Berger finishes second. Most likely will be the champion. Paul Servant finishes third tonight in the standings. Ray Rittenauer finishes fourth. Fifth goes to Josh Hanner. Jason Altmans will come home in sixth. Seventh goes to Jared Haggerty. Alex Hallinar will finish 8th. 9th goes to Matthew Welsenbeck. Travis Stewart will round out your top 10.
Yeah, coming home in that 11th place position, that's Mark Jorgensen Jr. Roger Stewart in that 5 machine comes home 12th. Kelly Dahl upsetting finish for him. He'll come home 13th. Scott Warren got involved in that late race incident. He comes home 14th, I should say. Dan Harrington 15th. Rod Flagg in that 60 machine comes home 16th. 17th. Tommy Hall. Frank Busilia comes home in 18th, and 19th Garrett Atwell, and rounding out your top 20 is that 13 of Gary Champion.
Dana Osborne starts the lap down count for 2 laps down. Rodney Wofford, championship contender, 4 laps down and 22nd. Larry Camp, 23rd. Shane McEachin, 24th. Chris Bassini, 25th. And Dwayne Cooper, 26th. 8 laps down. Multiple or double-digit lap downs is Derek Walker, 19 laps down and 27th. Josh Ball, 28th. Ramon Evans, 28th. Brandon Chaburko in 30th. The Merchant is 31st. Christian Peterson, teammate, right next to him, 32nd. Glenn Hedrick, 33rd. Kyle Manger is going to finish out 34th. Greg Hooks, 35th. And finishing out the field, 68 laps down, caught in one of those early accidents, is Dennis Cook.
That is your full field rundown of tonight's season finale, the title Trot 250 here at Daytona International Speedway. We're going to take this time to step aside. When we come back, we'll talk to our top 3 finishers and our champion here for season number 13. And we'll do that right after this on iRacing Live.
You know, the straights are unbelievably long. The first time you come here, everyone tells you, you'll be flat out 6th gear for 20 seconds. First time I was here, I lifted halfway down the straight. I didn't believe that it was still going. I was waiting to brake, and I was back on the power. And the Porsche curves are extremely fast and extremely narrow, so it's a tricky track. And every year I've come here, you learn something new every time.
Le Mans is so fast. Wherever you accelerate, you are over 150 miles per hour. Going there, I realized everything you have done before was nothing.
So cool, yeah. Nate, what are you working on at the moment?
So I'm working on the animation for the game. We're working on getting pit crews fully developed, and that involves a lot of moving parts. So I'm going in and making sure that each moving part can dovetail smoothly into the next one, so that when you pull in for a pit stop, it looks like the real thing, as opposed to a bunch of jumbled pieces that suddenly stop and then go and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's so cool, but why aren't you working on the time model? Nothing?
iRacing is the most accurate online racing game and simulation available to the general public. The iRacing service allows you, the race fan, the real-world racer, the race enthusiast, the gamer, to race virtual replicas of real-world cars and at real-world, world-class racetracks. iRacing laser scans all of its content to millimeter accuracy, which gives you a digital replication of that car or track. Whether you want to race for online championships, race your buddies in a league, or test for an upcoming real-world race, iRacing has what those sim racers, gamers, race fans, and real-world racers are looking for. Unparalleled accuracy with loads of fun wheel-to-wheel excitement. Because of the solid community that iRacing has built, along with that attention to detail, iRacing has been able to form official partnerships with renowned motorsport organizations such as NASCAR, SRO, IMSA, V8 Supercars, and others to develop professionally sanctioned online racing series for our members to participate in. This is unique to iRacing.
When we started iRacing, we kind of fundamentally wanted to take a different approach with licensing and treat them more like partnerships. You know, for instance, NASCAR was one of our first big partners that we brought in, and it's a great way to market your product. There is a growing sense that the virtual space is a great way to interact with the fans of your real-life series. Simulation in itself is just becoming more and more popular in the real racing world, and it's natural to think that to be successful in the real world in these racing series, you're going to have to be up to speed with simulation at this point, because it's the only way that you can actually get any testing done.
One of the things that we've realized in partnering with iRacing is that it allows us to expose the sport to a much broader audience than we've ever had the ability to reach out to. Not many people have the opportunity to drive a race car. iRacing breaks down those barriers and lets you do that. So for us, we're able to expose racing in general and the sport of NASCAR to a much broader audience from that standpoint. It engages people in NASCAR in general. So they like iRacing. If they don't want to become a professional race car driver, they get a feel for what the sport's all about. They're more apt to either go to a race or watch on TV.
iRacing's ever-growing global online community is very appealing to IMSA and what we're trying to do and grow our product as well. Clearly, iRacing is a leader in sim racing and logical and attractive partner for us to be with. For sim racers who have not been exposed to IMSA before, this is a great way to entice them to come check our product out on television or attend our events in person.
At this point now, we're actually getting contacted by racing series and tracks and manufacturers because they want to be involved in iRacing, because they see the value of having that sustained exposure to key demographics for them. Over the last few months, we've done
Welcome you back here to Daytona International Speedway. We just concluded the Title Trot 250 for the Superspeedway Cup Series, and we crowned a champion here tonight. Officially, Andrew Berger by 9 points over Rodney Wofford. He will become your Season 13 champion, his 4th championship, with his first coming way back in Season 1 almost 5 years ago. So Andrew Berger, it's his 4th championship of his career. Congratulations to him. We'll talk to him in just a moment, but first, we're going to head down to Victory Lane. We've caught up with the first-time winner in the series of the Superspeedway Cup Series. It's Brandon Monsivice. Brandon, congratulations. I know it's been a long time coming, but man, these races, listen, no matter how good you are at Superspeedway racing, when you come into a series like this with guys that do it every single week, the competition is so tight out there. It takes a lot to win one of these races. You were in the right place tonight, though.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this is one of the series that I've been watching for years on YouTube, and it took me a long time to get into this. And Cisco, I got to thank you for getting me into this series. And this is one that I've always wanted to win on. I've wanted to compete for a championship, but I've had real life racing and stuff like that to do, and I've really wanted to win one of these races, and I'm so happy that I was able to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so hard to get it done. You've been around for, I think it's been about 3 seasons now, and you've had your chances. You've been up front. You've led some laps. You've had some decent finishes up there, but it's just only one guy can win these races, and when you get about 35 plus cars in here each and every week, there's 35 guys that could have a chance to win. And you look at guys like Rodney Wofford, who picked up his 18th career win last week, and you see a guy like that that's able to get that many wins, and there's only 3 guys ever in the series that have double digit wins, basically. So it's hard. It's real hard to get these done, but you look at guys like that have had that success, and you think, okay, I can come in here, I can win some races, but it just shows that it's that hard to do. But man, I'll tell you what, it was fun to watch, and it's been fun to watch, and I'm just glad you got that monkey off your back now. Maybe now they'll start clicking off pretty easy.
Man, hopefully. And I was going to mention what you said about, I mean, this is, despite all the crashes and everything, these are the best super speedway racers on iRacing, and it's door-to-door, 3-wide, 2-wide racing every lap, every race. I'm so glad that I was able to finally get in the winner's circle in one of these, and my voice is shot right now because I was cheering so loud when I finally got the win, when the caution came out. But yeah, I mean, these guys race hard. It's hard for rookies or people who haven't got a win to get one win. Meanwhile, there's people out there with 18 wins and, like you said, double-digit wins. So it means a lot to finally get this W.
Yeah, absolutely a phenomenal thing, and obviously to end a season on a high note like this, you didn't run quite a full season here this season, but to get that win at the end of the season, we get a little bit of a break now because of the holidays. We come back in January, get this thing back underway. I mean, what type of motivation, or at least I know it can get frustrating out there when the consistently bad finishes, not even to your own fruition. It could be someone else's mistake that causes you to be out of a race, but what type of motivation does this bring to a driver? You finally got your first win. Does this maybe build that urge to want to do this more for you? Is that what this win can do for a guy like you?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it makes you want to return to this series for sure next season and just try even harder. And motivation, definitely. It shows that, I mean, I can finally run with these guys. I've put myself on the winners column. That in all retrospect, there's not a lot of winners on that with all the people that race, and it's people like Seth and Christian and the 23 that really helped me out. I've been working with them this whole season, and I've known Seth for years and years now. We've met like eight years ago on Xbox, and we've transitioned from there onto iRacing, and he was helping me so much through those last give or take 6 laps before that caution came out. He was telling me what to do, and he was talking me through that. So I gotta thank Seth for this win, because he's the one who gave me all the advice, and he told me what to do, where to go, when I needed to. So it just racing around people like that, it makes me a better driver in the grand scheme of things.
Well, you definitely picked the right guy to give you some advice. Of course, Seth the Merchant, with all the wins and success he's had over the past 5 seasons. So since he joined the league, a couple championships, had an opportunity for his 3rd championship here tonight. Obviously, the accident hurt him, but able to help you through those final laps, definitely a pretty cool thing, Brandon. And just congratulations again on this one. We give you this opportunity, though, sponsors, shout-outs. I know you ran a special paint scheme out there on the racetrack too as well for you, and maybe that's what you needed.
Yeah, maybe the paint scheme did it. I actually ran this paint scheme for a special reason. Today's my mother's birthday, and she's a huge Jeff Gordon fan, so I wanted to put this paint scheme on, and because she's always watching the races on her laptop, so I did this just for her. So happy birthday, Terry. Thanks for always being there for me and supporting me on my sim racing. I got to thank LSRTV. You guys are doing an amazing job broadcasting. I absolutely love this series and everything that you guys do for sim racing in general. Like I said, I got to thank Seth, Christian. They really helped me out. And then all the people that make this league what it is. I mean, Rodney bends over backwards for this league. He deals with everyone's complaining or wanting to change rules and all that, and he continually puts out good rules and good changes to make the racing that much better. And then just everyone involved, like Mark, he's another great racer out there that has a lot of input and good ideas on what to do with the future seasons and all that stuff. So pretty much just the whole community in this series. Thanks for just providing awesome racing and an awesome experience to be a part of.
Well, this is definitely a race to be bookmarked on your computer for you, so you can always turn back and watch your first career win. And we congratulate you again, everybody from LSRTV. Congratulations, Brandon, and best of luck in January.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Hope you guys have a good night. Thanks for all the fans out there for watching. I appreciate it.
And there you have it. First-time winner gets the job done. Here in the final race of season number 13, Brandon Monsivais gets the job done, gets his first career win, opens the floodgate, hopefully, for him, and we will see in January when the season kicks back off. I'm going to throw it down pit road, though. Chris Murdoch has caught up with our third-place finisher, Paul Servant.
Yeah, that's right. I've caught up with the driver of this number 3 machine. And, you know, he basically came out of nowhere at the end, coming home in that podium position in that third place. You know, Paul, what was going through your mind when you saw that you came home in third?
I was pretty surprised, actually.
And you know, you kind of flew under the radar the entirety of this race. Was that kind of your plan? Was that kind of your mindset going into this race?
Yeah, well, me and the teammates were gonna save it for till 25 to go, and you know, go from there. But lost some teammates along the way. Had a bad qualifying tonight, and lower than usual. So, you know, working on it.
And you know, we're coming up on some time off, which we don't normally see here in the Superspeedway Cup Series. You know, is there anything you plan on doing during this time off to kind of refresh and come back stronger for next season?
No, just relax, I guess. And you know, I'm like I said, I've been having some pretty good races all season. Just finishing bad, get taken out by the end. So you know, performance wise, I'm doing pretty good.
And you know, with that with this third place finish, you can't do it all by yourself. So who makes it happen for that 3 machine?
My teammates, when they're around in that wreck. There's some guys on the track too. You know, there's a lot to name. I can't name them all. You know, with Andrew Gratz, I was sticking with him the whole time there at the end. No matter what, I wasn't gonna do anything stupid to get another position or whatever.
Yeah, it's a strong way to end your season, and we congratulate you on your third place finish.
Thank you. Feels good.
And there you have it. That's your third place finisher, Paul Servant. I'm going to throw it back over to Andy Kessler, who's caught up with our Superspeedway Cup Series champion, Andrew Berger, who pulled out the upset here today. Andy, you're with him now.
Yeah, you talk about a driver coming, taking a break a couple seasons ago, comes back in, wins a championship back in season 11, turns around again 2 seasons later, season 13. We'll call it the Cinderella story, Andrew. Just a phenomenal run for you guys. Talk about this race before we bring out the president with the grand trophy here. But talk about this race in general. And coming into it, obviously 26 points out, you'd need a lot of help. When you saw the 7 and the 32 have their problems and they're stuck on pit road getting damage fixed, what was going through your mind at that point?
Yeah, I thought there might still be a chance. You never know with these races how they're going to go, and I mean, honestly, coming into the night, I really didn't think I had a chance. I mean, Seth and Rodney have been pretty solid throughout the season, but like I said, you never know how it's going to go, and they all had terrible luck. And honestly, I think a lot of the chase drivers tonight had terrible luck. I just happened to be the one with the least amount of it. So with 10 laps to go, I had some damage, but was able to avoid all the cars that were spinning in front of me and just make my way up to second.
Well, you did that, and you got the job done, and I'll throw it over here to President Rod Flagg. And Rod, you got a special presentation, a special champion here 4 times now in the history of the Superspeedway Cup Series.
Yeah, absolutely. Andrew, it's an absolute pleasure to be a competitor with you, and to have spent obviously the last 4 or 5 years that we've been doing this, and obviously in that time period, you accumulated now a 4th championship, and that's an elite puts you in elite place placement in this league, and I know you know that, and I know how hard you you work to be here and be in a position to win races and win championships. And this comes as actually no surprise that you're able to overcome that deficit. So it's without further ado that I present to you is the Season 13 Super Speedway Cup champion. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rod. Yeah, I mean, these never gets old. I mean, I love every Friday night, come home and get ready for the race. And what can I say? I love Super Speedway racing, and I love racing with Super Speedway and now the Super Speedway Cup Series again, and I love it every Friday night.
That was a fantastic run for you. Obviously, with those guys having the problems, you're able to get the second place finish. And I watched that replay of that wreck that happened right in front of you, and you just went to the high side, kept the foot on the floor, and able to survive and get around all that mess and come out in that second spot. And you end up winning the championship by 9 points. Coming into it 26 out, 9 points ahead now. Just a phenomenal run there in the end, and the Cinderella story of this season, Season 13, able to get the job done, and congratulations again to Andrew. Fourth championship, an amazing feat, and especially after taking a little bit of time off and kind of getting talked back into it by Josh Ball, and he talks you back into it, and you've won 2 of the last 3 now.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, if it wasn't for him, maybe he'd be speaking to somebody else right now, but yeah, I gotta thank him for getting me back in this. I guess it's been like a year or so ago, and like I said, I do look forward to it every Friday night. And I know we got some changes that Rod's going to talk about coming up. Looking forward to the next season, starting off in January, I believe. So yeah, I'm looking to make it, I guess, 5-time next season. We'll see.
There you go, an elite status for you here in the Super Speedway Cup Series. Season 1 champion, Season 3 champion, and then, of course, 11 and number 13 now here, your 4th championship. Congratulations again, Andrew. Go celebrate this one, and you get to celebrate it all the way to January now. You don't have to get right back into it next week.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And, of course, I just got to thank Rod for keeping this going. I know there's ups and downs, and I think we'll keep this thing going and go on the up here, I think.
Well, there you have it. Our champion for the 4th time in the Super Speedway Cup Series. A phenomenal feat. And Rod, I'll tell you what, man, that's one driver. I mean, he's not that flashy guy. He's not that guy that wins 5 times a season. He's not that guy that forces the issue. He qualifies okay. Sometimes he starts in the back, but it's amazing how quietly he gets it done each and every week.
If you could evaluate anybody in sim racing and compare them to anybody in NASCAR, I mean, this guy's like Jamie Johnson. I mean, he just gets the job done every week and accumulates enough points and gets himself in the chase. And when it's crunch time, he gets it done. And interestingly, I guess I didn't even realize this: Season 1 champion, Season 3 champion, Season 11 champion, Season 13 champion. Little number 30 there, 1 and 3, huh? That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to wait another 10 seasons to see him get it done, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Next time we would be race or season 113. I guess next time that would happen, or 111. So it's just amazing to see. You know, Andrew. He earned the respect of everybody in this league. And I don't think there's any driver who would say that he's ever raced somebody dirty. I mean, everybody makes their occasional mistake, but this guy is bar none one of the better and best super speedway drivers there's ever been. And we're just fortunate that he chooses it to race in our league on Friday night. So this is an amazing feat. Definitely the guy to beat coming season 14. And I can't wait to race him again here shortly.
Yeah, and beyond. I mean, you're talking about it. We talk about how hard it is to win these races. He's been around since day one, and he still only has 7 career wins. but he's got 4 championships. I mean, he keeps this up, he might have more championships than wins, and that's kind of an amazing thing nonetheless, too. But, Rod, you got a lot of changes coming up. Obviously, kind of a break coming up. We never really had that with the Superspeedway Cup Series here. It's pretty much been next week. We'll get right back at it. But we got the holidays coming up, obviously, Thanksgiving next week. But Christmas, New Year's, not too far away, and you decided to take a little break and come back before New Year's.
Yeah, there are some questions as far as what direction we want to go with season 14. I think the consensus was that now is probably a really good time to take a little bit of time off to just reevaluate, make sure what we're doing is going to be successful. And we have some things in the works, but the biggest thing was that we really wanted to plan 2017 correctly. We really wanted to make sure that our partnerships were in place, that we had the right drivers in place, that we had the right information in place, and that we thought about our schedule in the right way. So we're going to take a few weeks off. Again, we appreciate all the people out there who watch us on a week in and out basis. We're not going anywhere. Again, our partnership with LSRTV is one of the longest, and it will continue to be one of the longest. Cisco and Evan and Andy and what you guys do, we wouldn't be what we are today without you guys. So we are going to continue to have that partnership, and on January 6th we will be back, and we will be doing a split 20 race seasons in 2017. So we'll be bringing back a chase format, which we did a little bit of a chase format last season, but we'll be doing a split 6 race chase. So basically it'll be 3 races. We'll have a cutoff, top 6 race the next 3 for the championship, and so we'll should be an interesting change. I don't think anybody's ever really had one cutoff and done a couple races like that, so that could be kind of interesting. And we'll split it up 42 races, 10 off weeks throughout the 2017 season, and you'll be able to catch it right here on LSRTV for sure. So
well, we definitely look forward to that, Rod, and we love the affiliation with you guys with the Superspeedway Cup Series. It's been a long time associated with LSRTV, and we appreciate it too. It's been a lot of fun. We love coming Friday nights and watching these races, and just seeing some phenomenal finishes that we've had over the seasons, and obviously the championships these guys have been pulling off, and the good crop of new guys coming into the league as well too. So 35 plus cars each and every week, even on the last week of the season, and guys are in here they don't even have a shot at the championship, but they know they have a shot at the race win. So it's great. Always great car counts, always great drivers, always great racing as well too. So we appreciate that too, and we'd look forward to a little bit of off time, but we also look forward to January 6th to get right back in the saddle again.
And you saw how hard I was trying to win that race, and it's it's so hard to win one of these races. I will. If you're in the audience, I don't think they can understand the competitiveness, how hard it is to get up there to actually battle for the race lead is one thing. I've had my series of poles this season, and still not gone to victory lane. It is so tough. And I told Brandon here just a few moments before we went on the air, after the finish of the race, I told him, savor this, because you never know when your next win is going to happen in this series, because it is so competitive. Guys like Brandon, Mark, those guys who win all the time, they almost take it for granted. But it is so much harder to win this in this league, and so. I'm just thankful again for our partnership, and it's going to be a lot of fun in 2017. We are going to have a lot of fun. We're going to, there's going to be some rule changes, which will be announced here in the next couple of weeks. But again, I just thank LSRTV for our partnership. I want to thank the drivers of the Superspeedway Cup for everything they do. And I want to thank our sponsors. We had a bunch of sponsors come on board this season to sponsor races. I want to thank you guys for helping contribute, and also want to just put a period on Andrew Berger as our fourth Superspeedway championship. He totally deserves it.
Well said, Ron. I'll leave it at that, too. So congratulations to you. A fantastic league you got going on here. And, of course, a lot of guys behind the scenes that help you out as well. Frank Basilia, Larry Camp, Kelly Dahl, Jason Altmans, everybody else, all the drivers as well, too. For more information on it, go to superspeedway.club. Check it out. Great website, too, as well. Tons of stats, tons of all kinds of stuff. Get signed up. Email it in. Fill out the form. Get involved. Check them out on Facebook as well, Super Speedway Club, and just a lot of stuff going on. And of course, you got about a month or so, a little bit over a month and 6 weeks or so to get over there, get signed up, get in racing with these guys during the off weeks here, and get yourself in there for January 6th. Be part of the action. You can never have enough guys that love to do super speedway racing come in here and have a lot of fun on Friday night. So with that said, I hope you all tune in or check out livesimracing.com. Check out our full broadcast schedule. You can check out everything going on with us along with Facebook/LiveSimRacingTV. Lots of stuff going on. We got tomorrow night the United Sim Racing Truck Series back in action at 10 p.m. Race number 2 of their season, fresh off from Daytona last week. And then, of course, Monday night, who can forget that? The Full Throttle Cup Series final season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. 4 drivers looking for their chance at the championship in that one as well. 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you tune in for that one. That's going to be a thriller of a race down from Homestead Miami Speedway. I want to thank everybody from LSRTV and behind the scenes, Evan Pasoko, myself, Andy Kessler, the broadcast crew tonight, Chris Murdoch, Austin Coop, as well as the lovely and talented Cisco Scaramuza for everything he does. I hope you all enjoyed the show here tonight. Until next time, we'll see you.
This copyrighted broadcast is presented under the authority of LSRTV LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations and may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form, nor the accounts and descriptions of this event disseminated in any way without the express written permission of Live Sim Racing TV. LSRTV would like to thank its loyal fans for their continued support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.